The rivers and all that is quite beautiful. Ohio, it was flat. Pretty much. It's boring here. Fuck yeah, I got a lot. So I'm not from here. I'm free. It's interesting. The methods that I need down here is insane. The people are using just completely out of their mind. Obviously.
It's also called like farm boy.
But there's more to life. There's something else. See, it's very plus guy. Something other than just trying to like gratify your needs for distance. Like amplify 200 million times for no reason. I need to stay up with it. Great. We all need to stay up with it.
It's so bad.
Like this, like nice for like no reason other than why. I mean, probably not for a week, but still, I mean, a day or two months anyway. Who the hell knows? Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Nobody feels that one. I mean, you're not in Christ warfare. If you don't have that enemy, you need to be alert 24/7. I mean, that's where that was coming to play. It came from.
See that some problem line.
Yeah, I should put myself in a spot I've been in. I'm still in control of my own team, my own self. And it's not addictive or habitual.
It's not it's still a drug that has an effect, but it's not as detrimental as there is. It has to your life. No, it's a great thing.
Yeah, I've never been on a schizophrenic rage for that long joint.
Yeah, it does happen something. To be honest, like bring out. He brings up the rest. How did and the rest of the shit that's chances are everybody comes Saturday or whatever on the week. Because it breaks they ignore something and then closing break for you.
Or something. So that's completely self endeavor though, obviously. How would you link yourself to that's one of your personal things. How they react to it.
I always wanted to have a house with a front porch, you know.
Rocking chair or something, and bottle food or moonshine or something.
Yeah, even living in town,
He's the listerine type shit, you know.
It's a bad name.
Yeah, it's a fucked up movie.
Yeah.
Get it, boy, you got some parties in.
Yeah.
In my Tennessee, there's a sign that says we don't rent pigs, which really piqued my interest in why is there so much demand locally for renting pigs that they need a sign that says we don't rent pigs. What is doing those pigs that need bigger? Let's cancel the renting pigs then. We're going to have to like that pig, like I go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's directed. Like, we don't tolerate dishonest people. I don't want to find that so like that.
It's the superior Tennessee.
Yeah. There's a looking at the chat.
41. North.
Is that 641? Highway 641?
Yeah.
I found one, but just means we're trusting. It's like,
I found that so weird to have that portrayed. Why is it was intended? Fine. If we don't rent pigs anymore, really. Rent pigs. Why is there demand so much that they need signs to tell people we don't do that anymore?
we don't rent pigs.
Probably make me feel sorry for the pigs. Like, what do they get through traumatic experiences? Just to go ahead and have fun with them and bring them back all like depressed and shit.
Yeah.
That's why we don't rent pigs no more. It was that Billy Bob went through some divorces, you know. He took it out and pulled it through back there.
Well, he made very important.
That's
America's a lot of Americana. I love Americana. One of my favorites. Wide open roads. New hills. The country changes. I've been there a lot. I just want to see. The weather's so much better than Canada. Maybe the shit is weather here, bro. You guys got the good side of the
got really deep weather. We only get the sprinkling of snow every year. Literally, it dropped us because of that.
Yeah. Really, like, how, like, you don't have to fight. Here you got to fight everything.
Here's one though, on the road, that's pretty much it. With all these like rolling hills, you know what I mean? Like you really can't stop. They drive up kind of like, you're going 100 miles an hour. You're not doing nothing but going the same direction when you started. No matter if you break or not.
Yeah, it's you have to adjust your driving style. But that ice coming around. Yeah, brake ahead of time. Like change the pressure on the brake.
Yeah, people don't really take that into consideration. All these curves, you know, they're going to keep going straight. Why have any friction to make the turn? You know, there's just why something.
Yeah.
People don't forget that because of you driving, because you driving on like more or less flat surfaces or more level.
Yeah.
Here, these roads are definitely not level.
Oh yeah, they're not designed to come around. It's not made for it. I mean, driving here, you see the craziest white highway hang from the mountain passes and shit. And, like, by the time, you know, these trucks to the main roads, and these trucks all these ways. But there's not really any runoff. They take way more from
essential.
Yeah, the cave system that year, right? You know, wasn't any repurposed ones for military use. I think digging a cave and there be a giant cave somewhere. Bit of a shit.
That would obviously save a lot of money. Repurpose things.
Yeah, with piles of dirt coming out. I hear about all kinds of cool stories that came without being in that region. One big generator is going on big mission. Some of the big deals that other than that, doesn't let you do half the things you want to do.
Well, tell Rabbi I said bye. I'm gonna
I'm here just for a moment.
walk my dog and feed her. Take care of my brother for a minute.
My friend, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much for being so sweet, JH. And we will see you later. Blessings to your dog. And we'll see you tonight.
Take care, man. Good job.
Baruch Hashem, baby. GB, how are you?
Yeah.
Dude, do you know we have money printer in here? Do you know we have money printer? Money printer OX? How you doing, money printer OX? Money printer. All right. Very cool. Well, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna stream on Instagram. I'll be right back. In the meantime, have Joe Rogan going. TRB. Thank you. Actually, it might be like the secret history of like UFOs or something. It'll be interesting. Nevertheless.
Scandinavian or a Norseman, that's where you're going to draw. Then there's Area 2, which is just over there to the east. Now, Area 2 had a concentration of Native American pottery. This entire bag. That's all pottery. Did you find any evidence of a giant? No giants. However, there's still plenty of good places to dig, and there's plenty of really interesting artifacts to find. Let's do it. All right. Sounds good.
My search for proof of pre-Columbian Norse or Viking contact with Minnesota is ongoing. I've got an active dig looking for evidence of Norse giants at the Sacred Farm. And a sword I need to get in front of a medieval weapons expert I know. Now it's time to look for runes carved on the foundation stones of the old farmhouse on Ted Esselman's property. A hooked X on one of those rocks could be the Norse riviera.
Hey, your mom said she's dropping off some extra macaroni and cheese they have in her office, so if I'm not here, it's gonna take minutes here, if I'm not here, she'll, she'll put it on, I'll text her that it's here. Let's see, okay, what is it? I don't want to do anything. Okay, I see it. I see it.
Got your call? The house is knocked down? Now get back and check out the last one.
Okay.
Go ahead. All right. Oh, there we go. Well, I got some rocks here, but this is the foundation. dark gray or sort of a bluish gray rock. Look for that step fracturing and maybe a smooth polished surface. These are glacial fieldstone or glacial boulders. That's not what we're looking for. No. Wow. That didn't work out the way I planned. Here's a broken surface, but that's really not the right rock type either. This is all granite. And I would think the pieces are going to be pretty big. Watch out here. I don't think so. Okay, that's salt. Well, here's a big flat one there. Got this pile we saw when we came in. How about we check those? You know what? I see something right from here. There's a step fractures. It's on the rock. It's not a rock either. Oh, look over here. Perfect. Do you see this flat surface? It's got the glacial striations, just like this. And there again. You know what? I see something. No way. Look at that. There's a line there, and there's a line here. Now, is that man-made? I think we have a couple of man-made characters here. That could be what your friend was talking about. If he saw this, I absolutely believe that's probably what he saw. That looks man-made, and this is sort of a U-shape. It's not as regular and clean and obvious as the rootstone, but that does look like a man-made mark. But they don't quite join, I don't think. You know, when they were blasting this, I wonder if they had some tools and they were moving this around. Maybe they scratched it. Well, you know what? That sure is interesting. Wow. We did the foundation. That pile, this pile. I think maybe we got it. You know, we found a couple of what look like characters. This is probably what your friend was talking about. We were able to absolutely identify this. The story was right. He saw something and we found it. So we go on.
Yeah, don't bug you, but Teddy, my neighbor, told me you knew a little bit about runic writing.
I'm Scott Walter.
That Mars.
Ed,
Nice to meet you. Let me give you any information on that.
those are runes. That's a hooked axe. What the heck? What's this doing here?
Oh, I went down to Alexandria and looked at the rune stone.
So these are Kensington runes. Well, let me see if I can figure it out.
Okay.
All right, that's an E. Now that's a backwards L with a slash, so E, W, hooked axe, of course. I never know that one. That's an A, R, that's a D, Edward.
There you go.
Edward! No way! That's awesome. You know, old Poland promised stone. He thought it was his two sons. The younger son was the first one to notice that there was something carved on the stone. Guess what his name is? I'm not making this up. Edward.
Really?
Well, hey, it was nice to meet you.
Well,
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I think I have something here.
It's good.
What's that look like?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not sure what the hell it is.
This is cut well. It's good work. Big grooves. That'll indicate cutting. Work bound.
Okay.
Dance bone too. So what do you think?
I got another piece here. This is
That's nice. This was some sort of a bifacial tool. This is the process of making a tool, a projectile point, arrowhead. Yeah, so this is evidence of prehistoric tool manufacture.
Native American, most likely.
Almost certainly.
It's starting to look like a minefield here. At least we gave it a good effort, but, Roger, I think we're done digging here. We found a lot of stuff.
Yeah. You've got a great multi-component site. You've got historic artifacts, you've got prehistoric artifacts, but we didn't find any Norse materials. Let's go.
That's what we're looking for. Thanks for that.
We got it. Thank
All right,
you.
Roger, appreciate it. I've seen a lot, but the question remains, was there a giant on Roger Saker's property? Mike and I didn't find any Norse artifacts, but that doesn't mean there was no Norse giant. Before I question the state archaeologist about the cover-up, Roger insists he was part of it. I need to get to the bottom of the sword that he'll be gave. Hey, Craig. I'm investigating the possibility of ancient Norse, Vikings, and even giants being in Minnesota in the distant past. And Minnesota being my home state, I get calls all the time from people who think they found artifacts or maybe inscriptions. I have another one here. I was recently in northern Minnesota, and you've got the pictures that I sent of this sword that was found near Ulen, Minnesota by a farmer. So I'm anxious to hear your thoughts.
I'm sad to say it's not a Viking sword. This particular type of sword was produced by a WK and company in Germany in the late 1800s. They would have produced thousands of these. They also would have sold them to the Ames Company in the United States, who was the largest sword company in the U.S. at that period of time. Sold to the military, to individuals, to organizations, and I actually have pages from catalogs of both those companies.
When I look at both of these pictures that you show,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a spot-on match right there.
That's that sword.
Yeah. Can you show me what a medieval or Norse sword should look like?
Certainly. Okay. Well, with that for a second. All right. That's what a Viking sword would appear to be in most cases.
Boy, that's light for how big it is.
Viking combat is very much a combat of agility, speed. It is not two guys standing there pounding each other under shields.
So, Craig, are you surprised that it's modern and not old?
No, I was not surprised. In the course of our studies here in Minnesota, we've seen several instances where people have brought in artifacts, fence finials, axes, the Kensington Rothschild, all convinced that it's proof of ancient people prior to them being there.
Well, you know, you bring up the Kensington Runestone, that's something I know a lot about. You did a really good job pointing out factual evidence and the features of that sword that convinced me that it's absolutely modern. However, that has not happened with the Kensington Runestone. It's absolutely a genuine medieval artifact. It proves that there was a party that came to Minnesota that included Norse back in the middle of the 14th century.
I doubt this artifact is true. An artifact that would exist from that period of time being found documented in a context that is defendable in the kind of academic world would be make a big deal. Yeah, that would be something that would really give us a big conundrum to solve of why these people would have been out here in the middle of nowhere.
Greg, I know you're skeptical about the runestone, but there's still the unanswered question of the bones found at Roger Saker's farm. My next stop is to visit with the state archaeologist Scott Antonson, who did visit the farm, saw the dig, and should have the answer to that question. Thanks again. Okay, Scott, I'm going to cut to the chase. Roger Saker says that he has a Norse giant on his property, and he says you are covering him up. The bone specialist that was out at the site didn't want to talk to me, referred me to you. Roger was very adamant that when they exposed the lower legs of the big guy, that she said that these were the bones of a very large male. As the state archaeologist, what's your response to that?
As for the giant, I can't say for sure. There are some large people in the past, and we've seen giant claims before, but because I didn't see the bones, I can't say if there was a giant there or not. And there's some large Indian people too. As for the Norse Norse claim, I think I can answer that better. There's absolutely no European artifacts in that mountain. We haven't found any on the property. We haven't found any European artifacts in the Red River Valley in the vicinity of this farm. So I would say there's a 99.99% chance that this person is Indian and not Norse. Whether he's extra large, I can't say for sure.
Are you saying Roger Saker's lying about his claim?
Roger Saker's just claiming this. I think he's sincere in this, that this was a Norse giant. But I have no lines of evidence to say that it is either a giant or certainly Norse. You know, our bones in our body are articulated in the joints, all the way from your toe, all the way up to here. Everything is fitting in a socket. When you find bones and you lay them out on the table, you don't fit them back into the socket. You just sort of lay them in their anatomical positions. Well, if you don't fit them back in and you measure it, whoa, this person was 7 feet tall. Very experienced forensic anthropologist who has looked at the bones has told me that they're 5 foot 3 inches, I think, is the tallest. So I would call that a giant.
Roger Saker is adamant that the Norse came to Minnesota prior to Columbus. And if this was true, this would be a huge story. I mean, absolutely huge. But at this point, I haven't seen anything convincing to me that there's a giant there. But that door is still open a crack. Hey, Roger.
Hey, Scott.
Good to see you again.
Oh, I see you. Oh,
Didn't interrupt your dinner, did I?
I just had a little snack.
Well, I thought I'd stop by and tell you I had a little visit with your friend.
Oh, yeah. Here, sit down.
Yeah, and talked about the site over there, and he said that the bones that he looked at were not a giant. They were from a 5 foot tall Native American, typical of what he sees all the time.
Oh, good enough. Son, I want to see him. I'll take a lie detector's test. Hypnosis, whatever you want. I don't want to see him. He was huge.
I have to say that I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your passion. I understand that. I feel the same thing. When you know you're right about something, you stand by your convictions. And you've done that, and I respect you for that. So,
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for your help and all that. But this isn't right. I mean, these people, they're up to something. I'm going to keep going, keep doing it.
I can tell you this, I'm not going to give up on my search to try and get to the truth behind all of this stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't find anything else here, but I tell you what, we gave it a hell of a good try, did we not?
Yes, we did.
Promise me one thing.
Yeah.
If you do find a giant, or if you do find a runestone, will you call me right away?
Definitely will.
All right, Roger, I gotta go, and thank you again for everything.
Yeah. Thanks for all the help.
Go ahead and finish your dinner.
Yeah.
See you
I've
later.
lost my appetite now.
My search for Norse giants in Minnesota allowed me to dive deep into the myths and legends that are woven into the fabric of my home state. For many people, the question of whether the Vikings made it to Minnesota isn't a question at all. My own research into the origins of the Kensington runestone has proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that a group of Norse voyagers did make it to Minnesota in 1362. The New World wasn't as new as we've been led to believe. The history that we were all taught growing up is wrong. My name is Scott Wolf, and I'm a forensic geologist. There's a hidden history in this country that nobody knows about. There are pyramids here, chambers, tombs, inscriptions, They're all over this country. We're going to investigate these artifacts and sites, and we're going to get to the truth. Sometimes history isn't what we've been told. Because of my work, I get lots of calls from people who find unusual relics. A lot of times, they're easy to explain. But there's one that's bothering me. For the last 2 years, I haven't been able to figure it out. Holy cow. I'd be honest. When you saw this, did you kind of lose your mind a bit?
We were down there looking for dark points, fossils, things of that nature. We run across this, and I couldn't believe what we were seeing. And being a bit naive on the subject, at first I believed it was a bison until we started getting some opinions back that no, that's definitely bovine. It's definitely some sort of cat.
Okay. Nick Johnson and his brother stumbled on this incredible artifact. They had seen one of my lectures and called me up. The horns are very interesting. They're very prominent. They come up. They're symmetrical. So let's get this bad boy inside. All right. I had seen the symbol before, and I know the bull was used by ancient Egyptians in their rituals. But that was 3,000 years ago. It just doesn't make sense. So I examined it to see just how old the carvings were. You see this? Probably some mineralization that's on the surface. It's actually in the grooves too. See, it's sort of transition and then it lightens up here. So what you can say is that the carving was done before this black material was deposited on the surface, if in fact that's what that is. Initially, I can tell you right now, this wasn't made recently. This shows early signs of age. This looks like a vein of some kind floating down. For 2 years now, I've been studying this symbol, trying to get some answers. Bulls have been used as symbols by many groups. The Native Americans here, the ancient Greeks over in Europe. But I really think that this carving could be an apis bull, used extensively by only one civilization, the ancient Egyptians. Which leaves me with the question, how did it end up here? Nigel, I have something pretty special for you today. A guy named Nick Johnson lives down in Oklahoma near Tulsa, was walking along the Arkansas River, and he was looking for artifacts, and he found this large stone that has an interesting carving of a bull on it. And there are several people I've showed it to that think it might be Egyptian. Being an Egyptologist, were bulls popular in Egypt, or what can you tell me about Egypt and bulls?
Very popular. Okay. It's basically stood for strength, virility. So we're talking 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
And it leads all the way right through to something you probably know called the Apis bull, which is where they add a whole cult to the bull.
I've heard of the Apis bull. It's a sacred Egyptian deity that symbolized the strength of the pharaoh and was a protector of the dead. Well, I guess now's the time.
Yeah,
are you ready?
Yeah, I've come a long way to see this. So,
ready to take a look?
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go.
immediately first reaction is that it does look like an Apis bull from the top.
Tell me, what do you see that tells you that?
Well, of course, that bull's a bull ultimately, but the horns here like this, immediately when you first just look at it, that it stands out. The Apis bull, sometimes there's a ring through the nose, but that's later on. So, yes, obviously it's a bull, which I agree with you on that, but this is very unusual. Do you think this is?
Well, some people have suggested that this is an adornment of some kind, something they put on the bull as part of the ritual.
Is this any good for dating?
Well, it can be, but not knowing the history or the provenance of where this thing has been over time makes it very difficult for people. One thing that I can say, and I'll show you with the picture right here, you can see the layers here, and the only way that's going to happen is if you have either lengthy or aggressive litter. The question is, how old is that? Well, the honest answer is I don't know, because I don't know where this thing has been.
So therefore, the obvious thing to me that jumps out is that why Egyptian? Why not Native American?
The Native Americans, especially in the Central Plains region, they would have revered the bison more than the bull. So that would look very different. It would have the high horns. So I haven't seen anything like this in Native American. Some archaeologists in the local area immediately dismissed it. What they assumed was that it was a modern creation. And it could be. The only thing that makes me pause is I see significant weathering of the grooves. Let's say a group of Egyptians that came over here to North America, in this case, would it make sense for them to carve a bull?
No, they always leave the same descriptions. They leave the name of the pharaoh and something called a cartouche, which is a rope which encircles the king's name. Because he wanted people to know how important he was, how powerful he was, where he could go, that he had visited that place. Secondly, it's a hell of a long way. They don't like the sea. They're terrified of the sea, in fact. They don't want to go on it. So when they do want something, say from Syria, Israel, that kind of places, they always subcontract it. They got merchants to do it for them.
So what you're saying is, based on what you know about the Egyptians, this carving here in Oklahoma would not be consistent with the Egyptians.
No. I mean, they would have made a bigger stamp of it. They would have made a bigger impression. There would have been other artifacts if they were here. A lone traveler, possibly, but it's a long way to get lost, isn't it?
Well, at this point, I think we've determined a couple of things. That's definitely a bull. It may or may not be an Apis bull. We have to go see the site for this deeper. I want to get samples of this rock and compare it with some of the rock there to see is this rock in Tulsa. I have some doubts that the bull carving is Egyptian in origin, but it does look old. A sample pulled from the same environment where this was found could help me figure out if it was carved in Oklahoma. My next stop is Tulsa. I want to know if this is ancient. And if it is, I want to know who made it and why. It's been almost 2 years since Nick Johnson came to me with a 500-pound stone carving of a bull. Bull symbols are found in ancient Egypt, but why would one be found in Oklahoma? I'm heading there to find out for myself.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
The reason that we're here is we're trying to figure out, is this thing really old or not? I mean, is it weeks old, a few years, decades, hundreds, thousands of years old? And if it's thousands of years old, this is a big deal. Where did we find this thing?
Aaron spotted it first and said, "Hey, did you see this rock?"
So you actually saw it first.
Yes. And it was something I thought would, catch your eye immediately.
So walk over there and look at it. And here's this big bull carved on the rock. We didn't know what to make of that. What is a big bull doing out in the middle of the river out here?
So right out here past these rocks. So it's now in the water.
Yeah, probably about 20, 30 yards out past the water's edge. there's a hydroelectric dam upstream. They started letting water out probably 11 o'clock or so, so it started to fill up pretty fast.
So after you found this thing and you got it safe, then what happened?
Well, I started taking pictures and emailing anybody I could find that might be able to tell me something about it, what it's doing out here, if anybody had ever seen it before, if anybody had any clue how old it could be, whether it was authentic, whether it was modern.
One of the issues that I have is we've got a flowing river here, and water is a rapid eroder. It makes rock break down very fast. So if it's sitting in a river that's going up and down and it's flooded, let me ask you this, would it have been underwater today where you found it?
Yes.
It would. Well, I got to tell you that concerns me a little bit if the boulder was carved out there. In other words, if that boulder was sitting there and somebody carved it and it had the water flowing over it, it could have made those grooves, in that weathered appearance relatively quickly. So that's a concern to me. What I'd like to do is grab a couple samples and eventually get it back to the lab and just compare it with this, the rock that you had and see what turns out. I know that the bowl carving is on a piece of sandstone, which is rock that has a number of unique physical and chemical characteristics and can help establish where it came from with reasonable certainty. If I can find the same rock type here today, it could help get to the bottom of where this carving came from.
Scott, what do you make of this?
This would be a great piece to take back to the lab and maybe do a little comparison with your carving. This is a good control sample. I think I have what I need.
There's a spot 5 miles downriver called Turkey Mountain, and there's supposed to be some other inscriptions and carvings along the cliff face, and people have reported. You want to go down there and check that out?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Here. Should be probably about a quarter mile. We're going to want to kind of keep our eyes in this direction. There should be a fairly tall cliff. Apparently it's pretty high up, anywhere from 15 to 30 foot up from the ground. So.
There's a cliff wall there.
Yeah, there's a trail right here, so let's check in here. Might be back up in here just a little bit.
Does this feel right to you?
Should be about the right area, yeah.
All right.
Watch out for the snare here. It says Mad Dog right here.
Mad Dog. Well, I don't think that's very old, but it's interesting they use a pecking technique.
We're in the right area.
It's not over there. Stuff all the way over here. Wait, what is that? Right there. Well, that's modern graffiti.
There's supposed to be a face around here.
Face.
Human face.
Looks like there might be something up here.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
the face.
this looks like it's a head right here.
Is this a profile of a head?
The face.
Which way is the face pointing?
Just the back of the head is here. So sort of head here or something protruding out in front of the face. You can see a nose here.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta be honest with you. I don't like this. I think this is modern. I think we should head down. Let's take a look at this over here, guys. These lines right here. This looks like it could be Ogham. Ogham is a really old written language that uses vertical lines. Irish Celts used it between the 4th and 10th century AD. There are more than 400 open sites along northwestern England, Wales, and Ireland. A lot of academics, however, are skeptical about open in North America.
Apparently there was a guy named Barry Fell from Harvard who said that this was open and that it translated to G-W-N or Gwen.
Gwen. Well, Gwen, the name Gwen, if this says Gwen, one possibility is it could be the Celtic explorer Gwen. And the Celts, if they were here, certainly would have used oakum. You know, as I look at this stuff, I keep thinking about that river that we've been, walking along all day today. And, these early explorers, if they were down in the Gulf of Mexico and they went up the Mississippi, the first large river to the west is the Arkansas River. And so that's the way they would have traveled. And this is literally right on the river. So it makes sense. Guys, I really like this. This looks good. And we've got a lot of other stuff here that we can use to compare. And I don't know if this connects with the bowl. It might not. So we have a rock found in a river with a bowl carving that could connect to Egypt. And not too far away, we have a possible Celtic oakum inscription carved on a cave wall. It seems like these clues are unrelated. So I need to figure out more about this ancient language and how it all fits together. And for that, I need to travel to Ireland. I'm here to try to figure out if the Irish Celts came to America long before Columbus. And I'm also here to try to find out if this oakum script that we found in Oklahoma could possibly be evidence of their voyage to the New World.
If we could find an oral inscription in America, written in America, then we would have absolute proof that the Irish were living in America in the early medieval period.
Well, I tell you, the reason I'm here is we have these people say an oakum inscription in Oklahoma. And I want to try to learn more about it.
Ogham is an alphabetical script which is unique to Ireland and to places where the Irish settled. It was a fashionable way to record names of people in stone in the 5th to the 7th century.
Can you describe what exactly does it look like?
It's made up of straight lines, and to the untrained eye, it looks like tally marks. But the lines are arranged in a very specific way, each set of lines representing a consonant or a vowel. We have a beautiful example here in the library of an inscription from County Kerry, and I'd be delighted to take you in and show it to you. This is about the standard size of an inscription of this kind, which date from the very birth of Irish Christianity.
So, what does this inscription say?
This inscription records the name of the man who either was buried here or whose property this is. We follow the vowel line up the center, and then the consonants are on either side. And it's important that they're on the proper side, because if they're on the wrong side, it'll mean nothing. This is the proof that this is an Irish oakum inscription. You know you're reading the right direction, and you know you've got an oakum inscription. That's what you need to find in America.
Only the Irish Celts used oakum script, not all Celtic people.
This particular alphabet is used only by Irish Celts, and is found, as far as we know, unless you can prove otherwise, is found only in Ireland or in areas that were colonies of the Irish.
Do we know how far they traveled, and where do we find this?
We know with reasonably certain that they got as far as Iceland. Did they go further to America? I don't know. You find the stone.
Well, I tell you what, I have some pictures I'd like to show you on my computer, so maybe I do have an oakum inscription. So, Damien, here we have what some people claim is a short inscription here. This is at a site called Turkey Mountain in Oklahoma. Not far away, there was a very beautiful Egyptian-style bull carving found. I don't know if they're associated with each other, but it wasn't far away. What do you see?
I have to say, from what I can see, I see 5 or 6 lines, almost all of them vertical. And there simply isn't enough in that to be able to say this is an old inscription. This bears a superficial resemblance to one in that it has straight line.
But let me ask you this. If we were able to find a legitimate early Irish inscription, we could say that that was evidence of early medieval Irish contact?
Correct. A legitimate inscription, absolutely. Provided it is legitimate, it works the other way, and it is the Irish language that is on it, you have absolute proof that the Irish were there. And if there's one there, I certainly would like to see it. I'd encourage you to look. I believe that in Oklahoma, in the Guinness caves, there are inscriptions that some people claim bear a resemblance to the other. Why don't you check that one out?
Hey, Phil. Scott Walter, how you doing? Thanks for meeting me out here. All you all? I'm trying to understand how a 500-pound slab of rock with what looks like an ancient bull carving ended up in the Arkansas River just outside of Tulsa. Not far from that site where this bull carving was found, we also looked at some oakum. And I understand you've got both oakum and carvings that include a bull ear. Is that true?
That's right, Scott. I think our carvings and inscriptions that we have here are probably the best example of old world Celtic explorers coming to America long before Columbus, and I'd love to take you to the caves. I've been researching these caves, the cave we call the Anubis caves, for over 30 years now.
Anubis is the jackal-headed Egyptian god of the dead. He was associated with mummification and protecting the dead as they journeyed to the end.
In the late 1970s, a local rancher brought another researcher here to these caves, and she recognized the figure of Anubis on the cave wall, and that's the name of the Anubis caves.
So you've got Celtic writing and evidence of religious practice of the Celts. You've got Egyptian symbolism and iconography consistent with them being here, a presence here. And you've also got a bull carving. This whole investigation I started began with a bull carving. I mean, if this is what it could be, this is a huge discovery.
I think it is. This is cave number 1. Okay. I want to show you over here cave number 2, 3.
Okay.
This is cave 2, and you can see the markings.
Oh, yeah.
Right up on the wall from here.
Well, they look great. Here we go. I got her. Wow. Well, these are amazing.
Now, here's some of the marks that I'd like to show you. Here's the bull, and you can see the ribs drawn in Celtic style, the horns.
I mean, that's clearly a beast. Looks like a bull to me. And these lines right here. This looks like it could be open. So what does all this mean?
Well, this was put here 1,500 years ago by Celts. Came here and made a monument to their god Mithras.
I only know a couple of things about Mithras. It's an ancient religion practiced around 100 to 500 AD. Its god, Mithra, was also known as the sun god, and it also incorporated bull slaughter.
Mithraism. It was a secret, a mystery religion,
And this is a practice of the Celts.
and it was also a practice of the Celts. Come over here, you can see the rising and setting sun. And then we have the sun god with his rayed head crown. And then we have the god Anubis with his white crown and the flail stuck in his back, just as he appears in Egypt.
Clearly Egyptian. And I do see some modern graffiti, obviously right here. And modern graffiti can be very helpful in dating. It gives us a comparison. I do see, some of these look like they've been aging for a while. What's your take on the age of these carvings?
Well, we have dated this to approximately 300 to 500 AD.
That's very possible.
There's a series of alignments here that only occur on the day of the equinox.
So you're talking about archaeoastronomy.
That's correct.
Well, that's a little something I know about. I mean, many cultures did this for thousands of years and aligned their buildings and structures to align planets, moon, the heavenly bodies. And you're saying we have that here? What happens here?
It's just like going to the movies. We've often referred to it as the world's first motion picture. The shadow moves up across this panel into the setting sun. It tells a story of Mithraism. The Celts believed that in Mithraism that their soul came down from the heavens and then returned back to the heavens and to their god Mithras.
So there's a shadow play here on the equinox, which happens only twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. And it's when both day and night are of roughly equal length. It was also a significant day for many early cultures. Just as it was summer turning into fall, it also represented the change from life into death. If this shadow play illuminates these symbols, then it clearly represents something fundamental to the spiritual beliefs of whomever carved this. So this is the cycle of life?
Yes, it's the cycle of life from beginning to end.
So Phil, what you've told me here, and what I've seen, is a very detailed, very complicated equinox alignment here that was made by explorers that came long before Columbus. I know it's not far from the equinox. We're coming up close. I would love to come back. This is an important site, and it changes history.
We'd love to have you come back. Let's do it.
A guy named Nick Johnson down in Oklahoma found this in the Arkansas River. We don't know how old it is. I then talked to an Egyptian expert about the possibility that maybe this was an Apis bowl of the ancient Egyptian religion, and he basically said, yeah, I see some things that do look like it could be an Apis bowl, but then he said he saw some things that he didn't like, that weren't consistent with that. And then I went down to the Panhandle in Oklahoma, and I went to a site where I saw some bull. I saw another bull carving, and the whole discussion of possibly the Celts coming here and carving something based on the Mithraism religion.
We really know the Mithraic religion through symbols and images of its god, Mithra. He had a solar crown and was holding a sword or a large dagger and was sacrificing a bull. And here we have a bull. Flourished from about the 1st century to the 4th century AD. And practitioners, they believe their souls came from the stars.
What would they go through? I mean, what are some of the rituals?
You know, Torabolium was an initiation where a pit was dug and boards were put over the top of the pit. You, as the initiate, brought in under this grating, and a bull would be taken over the pit and sacrificed with 50 liters of blood poured
horrible for you.
You physically got new life from this blood from the bull. Now that is not a visceral initiation. I don't know what is.
Well, if you're sitting in this pit and a bull is slaughtered above you and the blood is just draining out the cover, one of the things when I was talking with the Egyptian expert was he couldn't make heads or tails of this flowing lines here on the back. Could that be blood?
I think you're definitely on the right track there. You know, if you're looking at Mithraism, the bull symbolism was an extremely important symbol.
This bull seems to represent almost an amalgamation of two things. One is Egyptian Apis bull religion and Mithraism. I mean, is it fair to say that one sort of evolved from the other?
Absolutely, without doubt. Mithraism actually was a reforming of the Apis religions of Egypt.
Now, this is all starting to make sense. If it wasn't the Egyptians who made the bull symbol, it was somebody who was influenced by the Egyptians. Right now, all signs point to the Celts. The site that I saw in the Panhandle, because of the presence of Odin, they're thinking that the Celts were the ones responsible. If they were the ones that came over here, the question is why?
Christianity was around. People get chased out, and certainly it's a very strong possibility that the Celts were simply the Celtic Mithraic practitioners were chased out.
People will go to amazing lengths to find a place to practice their faith. And isn't that what North America really has evolved into? I mean, that's what the United States is. But the idea that people were coming here hundreds and thousands of years ago for the very same thing is really pretty incredible.
Well, I tell you, this is absolutely extraordinary stone.
When I was down on the river, looking at the site where Nick told me he found the stone, one of the things I wanted to do is to see, did this rock come from that area in Tulsa? And it appears that it does. This is a piece of rock that I collected that is sandstone. It's virtually identical to this slab that the bull's carved in. You know, in answer to the question for me, I believe that the bull was probably carved somewhere near where it was found. Maybe not exactly at that site on that island in the river, but somewhere nearby. It seems to me that really the most likely candidates, if this is indeed ancient, it has to be the ancient Celts. Joe, I've been invited back to the Anubis Cave on the equinox to see this alignment that occurs at that time, and I want you to come with me.
I will be there.
Someone was in that cave thousands of years ago, and someone with an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy put those carvings there for a reason. If the cave illumination is anything like what I've been told, then we're in for something spectacular. It's really going to be, I'm sure, an amazing experience to see this whole Celtic Mithraic religion that appears to have been brought here. And if that's true, then we have a real game changer in this whole history of the North American continent. I'm about to witness what sounds like a spectacular illumination here in the Oklahoma Panhandle that may explain the mysterious bull carving. The alignment is taking place during the autumn equinox, when day and night are of roughly equal length. Not only could this be proof of an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy, but possibly the presence of ancient Celtic travelers in America's heartland, practicing their Egyptian-influenced religion. What I'm hoping to see is the story of Mithraism played out in light and shadow right before our eyes. Well, Joe, according to the researchers, the Celts carved this site sometime back around 300 to 500 AD. And if that's correct, it changes history in a huge way.
Well, you know, Mithraism was around for centuries. Centuries of time where Celtic tribes would have been influenced by Mithraic history, religion, and Mithraic practices. So, you know, if what you're saying is that you found evidence that is old and it's showing symbolism of that's 1,500 years old in Mithraic, what other conclusion can we come to? But that there are Celtic tribes that were here.
Long before Columbus.
Yeah, definitely long before Columbus.
Hey, Phil. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
That's my friend Joel. He's the expert in Mithraism I told you about. Very interested in seeing the alignment today on the equinox. And what do you say? Should we get after it?
All right, Scott, let's get on.
Joe, is there evidence of Mithraism here in your eyes?
It's clear. I mean, it's absolutely clear to me that, I mean, these symbols are so distinct. Here you have this canine figure, that possibly Anubis, Anubis, the Egyptian jackal god, as he was hunting for the bull. We have the sun, and the sun is connected to his Mithraism. And we have this figure that is clearly a Mithraic style sun god. Right here, we have this deeply etched bull.
I'm starting to see that this bull symbol is really important. We see it as the Apis bull in Egypt, in Mithraism, that bull that Nick found in Tulsa along the same waterway.
Right.
It would lead the people to come here that also has the bull. There's a very good chance that that's part of this whole thing as well. But really what we're talking about here is another example of archaeoastronomy. I mean, we're talking about a geographic spot that is aligned with the heavens. And this is something that ancients have done for thousands of years. Well, Phil, we're only moments away here. So can you tell Joe what's going to happen with the alignment here?
Sure. There'll be a wedge of light between two shadows that will progressively pan up across this panel. And as the lower shadow comes up, there will be a little knob of shadow. This is going to move halfway up the sun god's face, half obscuring his face, and the sun will be half obscured below the horizon. And as the shadow completes obscuring the head, that's the moment that the sun finally dips below the horizon, and the lights go out. You can see the shadow has moved up and is now right underneath the sun god's chin. And that reflects exactly what's happening on the horizon. The sun is touching the horizon.
So it's happening right here. This is incredible.
It's extraordinary. I mean, look at that. It's so clear what I'm seeing here. I mean, it is clear that Mithras, at this time, in the autumn, he is sinking down into darkness. And there is Anubis who's going to be risen above. And Anubis, of course, the jackal-headed god, he was the god of the dead and the underworld. And as he is risen above, symbolically right there, he's risen above the sun.
The head of the sun god is almost completely in shadow. Anubis is nearly fully illuminated, and it's already starting to go dark.
That is a really complex alignment.
Someone with a great deal of knowledge and precision has been able to make this map. Watching the shadow creep across here, they've laid out their lines, and they've had to have known something very special to have the skill and knowledge to do it.
This is incredible. Here again, we have a brand new chapter in American history right in front of our eyes.
Phil, your theory that the Celtic tribes were practicing in Hebraic things came here, I mean, this is all just making so much sense now. It's really something.
So let me ask you a question. How does the Egyptian symbolism, Mithraism, and the Celts all connect?
You know, every single one of the people that you mentioned, they revered the sun, the moon, and the stars. They knew that it was their way to keep track of everything that was important to them.
I agree. This site was as important as the Dead Sea Scrolls are to biblical history as this is to Celtic history.
Well, I tell you guys, this has been incredible. We started with the wall in Tulsa, coming out of the Arkansas River. Not far away, we saw Open Script. And if we follow that trail up the Arkansas to one of its tributaries, it takes us right here. And this incredible story of Mithraism that we just saw play out on the wall. It was amazing. And really, the only reasonable people that could have done this were the Celts. 1,500 years ago. I can't think of any other candidates. And for that reason, this site here should be, I think, designated as a National Historic Site, and it absolutely changes history in a profound way. My search to uncover the meaning and origins of a 500-pound bull carving strongly suggests ancient Celtic explorers brought their religion to America. Celtic worshippers of Mithraism who entered into their faith through a baptism of blood from a sacrificed bull may very well have made their way to Oklahoma. The stone carving found in Tulsa could hint at their gruesome initiation. Trails of blood running from the bull's head and neck. I saw the story of Mithraism play out before my eyes in a spectacular illumination on the autumn equinox, a testament to an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy. Everything I've learned could mean that America's first pilgrims may actually have been Celtic explorers who left clues behind. It's up to me, and to all of us, to figure out what those clues mean to the history of this country.
In 1983, a prospector arrived in a river valley in Glacier Bay, Alaska. He was following rumors of a large, untapped vein of gold, hoping to make his fortune. The man was experienced in his work and set about to locate the treasure. But instead of striking it rich, he disappeared. Months later, a hiker came across his abandoned supplies. But the hiker saw something else, too. A hulking, masked figure watching him from the woods. His description matched a warrior tribe known for decapitating those who intrude on their territory. But that tribe disappeared thousands of years ago. Since that sighting, this area has had a dozen more sightings, reports of frightening bones, and 3 more people have gone missing. None of them have ever been found. Inside the vast frontier of Alaska is a mysterious triangle, where each year, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing. Three investigators look for answers. Jax,
specialist in strange phenomena, and Tommy, an expert on Alaskan legends. Together, they uncover mysterious sightings and ancient legends, exploring the possibilities of those who go missing in Alaska. The team treks into the thick wilderness near Glacier Bay, heading to the spot where the missing prospector's belongings were found.
You know, guys, being back in this area, my injury, makes me really wonder if there's something that doesn't want us to be here. We initially began investigating the mystery of this missing prospector 3 months ago. We just entered these same woods where people have seen this warrior. I suffered a freakish accident.
Are you getting your readings over there?
Hey, Ken, check this out.
Oh,
What'd you hit?
oh, it broke my ankle. It's the weight of my sword. I slipped and caught my foot in some rocks and completely fractured my ankle. I actually had to be carried out of the wilderness to safety. Oh God! Oh my God! It was honestly one of the most painful and unsettling events in my life. I was laid up for 12 weeks. My theory is that we're dealing with evil spirits out here. Now that we've returned to the same forest, it has me on edge.
You're saying that something caused you to fall?
I've been investigating the unexplained most of my life. Bigfoot doesn't scare me. UFOs, aliens, doesn't bother me. Something about ghosts, spirits, paranormal, the unseen. It scares the shit out of me.
Witness descriptions of this mysterious warrior match an ancient tribe known as the Nahanni, native people who existed more than 1,000 years ago. Stories describe them as larger than normal men who wore masks and wielded curved blades for chopping off the heads of their enemies. Little else is known about them, other than that they mysteriously vanished centuries ago. Equally strange is this reappearance in the Alaska Triangle, since their home, the Nahanni Valley, is in Canada's Northwest Territories. Could the Nahanni warriors still exist? And if so, why might they have come here?
Nahanni stories originate in Canada. We're a long ways away from there, huh?
Yeah, but look at all the similarities. We're talking about, prospectors looking for gold. And then there's this weird masked human-like figure. I mean, they're almost identical.
In the late 1800s, gold was discovered in the Yukon Territory of Canada. Thousands of treasure seekers poured in for their share of the bounty. Farther east, in the Nahanni Valley, gold diggers weren't having the same success. And things got worse in 1908, when prospectors Willie and Frank McLeod were found with their heads cut off. Were the Nahanni warriors behind it somehow? Or was someone protecting a rare find?
You could just be dealing with somebody that's trying to scare someone off of their claim or their potential wealth, and it's as simple as that. If a married person goes missing, you have to look at the spouse. If a gold prospector goes missing, crime agreed is likely dead.
The team makes their way to the river. It was there that the mysterious masked figure was seen.
Well, that's moving. Easy falling in.
I still think it's worth testing out my theory. I think I'm going to go down there, find a little spot, just a little scratch.
Even if Jax doesn't find traces of gold, he might find an indicator material like magnetite or hematite, known as black sand, that suggests gold is around. That would support the idea that someone could be protecting a claim and might even be willing to kill to do so.
I'm going to look for signs of bear up here.
Okay.
One of the first series you have to consider when somebody goes missing in the Alaska Triangle is wildlife. Bears are very common around here and can be quite aggressive. Maybe this prospector got attacked and then buried somewhere.
I'm going to take some readings with the thermal imaging. All right. That's cool. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious whether, I pick up any kind of temperature anomalies or anything like that. It's well known in the ghost hunting world that spirits display thermal signatures, generally registering as cold spots. But I've also heard that if a spirit is evil, it might show up as a warm spot, revealing its demonic nature.
While the mystery of the prospector and others who have gone missing here is strange, the mystery of what happened to the Nahani is stranger, even when compared to other ancient tribes that have vanished. The Indus Valley civilization in Pakistan was a society that achieved amazing technological advancements, such as a uniform measuring system, dental drilling, and urban drainage systems. But by 1500 BCE, they had disappeared from their massive city of Mohenjo-Daro for reasons unknown. The Anasazi of the southwest United States, famous for their cliff dwellings, were similarly lost in history some 800 years ago. They seemingly left in a hurry, abandoning cooking pots and baskets in their former abode. And it's unclear what fate befell the Minoans of Crete that drove them out of existence around 1450 BCE. Scientists have speculated about everything from a volcano to a tsunami to explain their sudden disappearance, which has drawn comparisons to the legend of Atlantis. But these other civilizations are known by the architecture or tools they left behind. The Nahani's only legacy is a gruesome oral history told by neighboring tribes of a vicious people who would chop off their enemies' heads. Maybe the Nahani really existed, but then what was the legend based on? And what are eyewitnesses seeing out here now?
You find any clients of gold yet?
Nothing. Hey guys! Yeah, buddy. Getting something kind of weird on the thermal imaging. As I'm scanning the river with the thermal imager, I record a slight heat wisp coming off the water. Now, this is glacial runoff, so I have no idea how this could be giving off warmth. We were panning there. I was taking some readings, and by the way, 39 degrees is the water temperature right there on the shore. See those red lines that are kind of coming up? What is that? To me, it looks like some kind of vapor, like a mist or something that's kind of coming off the water. I mean, if the water's 39 degrees, how are we having heat radiating off of the water?
You really could just be looking at some underground magma that's, undiscovered straight hot stream.
Oh, all over southeast Alaska and around, we're on fire, so there's hot springs out there definitely. But as far as I know, there are no hot springs in this area.
The southern edge of the state sits on a ring of fire, a volatile line of volcanic activity that outlines the tectonic Pacific plate. As the plate shifts, heat from molten rock can escape from thermal vents at the surface.
When you consider how much of Alaska hasn't been explored, there has to be some geological features that haven't been identified or mapped out yet. So maybe magma is causing this temperature differential.
In the paranormal world, we look for temperature inversions that are dramatically different, and that's an anomaly in my mind. I can't explain it.
Can you hear that? What? You don't hear that? What do you hear? You have your audio device with me? Yeah. Humor me, why don't you record this one? See this will pick anything up. As we're standing there, I start hearing a soft moaning sound. I don't want to make too much of it, but this Nahani legend involves people hearing spooky moans. So I want to see if we can identify what the sound is.
Okay, recording. It's kind of a murmuring. It's real like kind of a whistling, murmuring. Yeah, I heard that. It's probably the wind, right? It's not the water.
It's coming down the river. We can't get by right here. We're not going to be able to get through here, so let's go back. And we'll come back to another spot to come up to the river.
I'm just hearing wind now, guys. I'm not getting that noise anymore.
I don't hear it either. Check that out.
How do you suppose I got there?
Everything's on something down upriver.
Had to, there's no road here.
Old prospector's truck, ain't it?
Yeah.
The body style of the truck suggests a 30s era model. That's consistent with the time when the Great Depression spawned an increased number of prospectors. And
think it's just the wind playing some tricks through here.
The way the wind whips through this bend in the river gives it an increased resonance due to the constricted passageway, which could have created the sound they heard. Now the question is, does this truck provide any new evidence?
Why don't you guys go down there and check it out? Or I'm gonna hang around up here and see if I can get that sound again.
Right away, I can tell this truck has been here for a long time, many decades, so it probably predates our missing crossway. And the fact that the river's constantly rushing through it gives me very little evidence left to show us who owned the vehicle.
Again, check this out. I'm not sure what's going on there. As I'm scrolling back through my photos, I come across a picture of Jack's painting for Golden River, and I noticed something pretty strange.
Hey, go back in again?
Look at that. What is that?
It's like an anomaly on the film. Curved half circle. Streaks of light like this often show up in photos where people believe spirits are present. Oh, it's just like the sight. This anomaly looks unsettlingly like the Nahani's weapon of choice. Hitting you right there in the neck, brother.
The number of people reported missing each year in the Alaska Triangle defies the odds. Native lore is steeped in stories of otherworldly creatures who might be contributing to this epidemic. But could a legend from outside the triangle be partly to blame? Strange sightings of a masked figure, which may be an apparition, have looked images of the ancient Nahani warriors from Canada, known for decapitating their enemies. And the team's investigation into a possible victim has generated a bizarre find.
It's a curved half circle. Oh, it's just like the sight. It's hitting you right there in the neck, brother.
It's probably just something messing with the light. All the river, water moving,
Next one. Oh, whoa. Here it is again.
To Ken, the anomaly suggests the same type of curved blade the Nahani were beginning to use.
This is the exact same moment when I was getting those thermal readings.
I'm not convinced. I think there are more practical reasons why that prospector went missing than ghosts. I mean, obviously we're in American country, and obviously know at some point there's been gold prospecting here. We need to talk to people who've had more recent sightings.
Yeah.
At this point, I still believe there's a real person or persons behind these Nahani encounters. Maybe the tribe still exists. Hopefully someone has seen something that could open up this case for us. All right, see you later.
As Tommy takes the team's evidence for a more in-depth examination, Ken and Jax track down a local named Cody. He recently filed a police report about a suspicious individual he saw in the woods while camping.
Hey, are you Cody?
Oh, hey, yeah.
Hey, Joe. I'm Jax. This is Ken.
Ken, hey, nice to meet you, man. We just have a couple of quick questions for you, man, about this experience that you had. Well, I was out solo camping for a night. I had just sealed up my food to keep from attracting bears. I took my camping shovel and I was scooping dirt off the fire. And I heard a low, humming sound. It sounded like it was coming from all directions. So I scanned my surroundings. And I caught a glimpse of what looked like a large man off of the trees. It was dark, so I couldn't see his face. But what I could see looked almost wooden. That sounds weird. He just immediately disappeared. I didn't hear any more sounds after that. It's interesting. It sounds pretty scary. Appreciate you kind of opening up for us a little bit. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good.
Thanks. You mentioned the moaning sound, all directions.
You know, check fits with what we reported when we were out there.
And they describe the faces looking pointed. That's pretty bizarre. You know, kind of sounds like a mask, right? I immediately thought that. There's always a possibility that this apparition could just be some person who's trying to scare people off for whatever reason. Cody's story makes me want to look at these photos of Jackson again. I think there might be a pattern here.
All right, here we go. Just photo number one.
Here it is. That's a pretty bizarre anomaly. Okay. there are these spirits, they be protecting their sacred grounds.
Sacred ground has always been a part of Native American culture, and it isn't limited to burial sites. Locations can be revered because of events that happen there, because they have unique natural products, or even because they allow communication with spirits, such as the Aurora Borealis. And since natives have lived in Alaska for 12,000 years, there are likely far more of these areas than anyone could ever know.
I won't give you this, but I got the pan in the dirt beside this above my head. But, you know, I gotta look at the other side too. I mean, photos have issues. So is it a lighting issue? Here's Tommy. Hey, Tommy. Good, buddy. What's up? Okay, we can be there in about 20 minutes. All right, later.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah.
Having identified an intriguing pattern to the photos, Ken and Jax joined Tommy to see what his tests have uncovered.
So good. What do you got, Tommy?
You guys check this out. The recording down by the river, the sounds they were checking out, I sped them up.
Is that a voice?
The language expert told me it sounds like a Dene phrase said here, saying, beware.
Hearing that voice hitting in the wind, it honestly gave me chills. I mean, I feel like I've been warned to stay away from this case a couple of times now. Ah! Oh my God! I'm not sure what we stepped into.
Is that a voice?
The language expert told me it sounds like a Dene phrase said here, saying, beware.
So what is the name?
It's a dialect blending French and the natives from Canadian territory there.
But to me, that sounds pretty articulate, right? I mean,
Do you hear it? It is the wind, though. I mean, if you can start tinkering with things and moving things faster or slower, you can probably make whatever sound whatever you want. This case is getting weirder by the minute. I don't talk about voices in the wind having subliminal messages. I just don't buy it. The problem is with no hard evidence yet. No hair fibers, no DNA, no footprints.
so let's backtrack a second. We have the audio recording you just played us, which you said is a warning, and we have the anomalies on the images when you're digging in the ground. Should these spirits be protecting the ground?
The ground,
Is it sacred ground?
like sacred burial grounds.
Exactly.
A famous case of a burial ground curse is the Spiral Mounds of Oklahoma. Discovered in the 30s, this site had so many artifacts, it was called an American version of King Tut's tomb. But when men started taking relics illegally, several died in mysterious ways, including one who somehow drowned in a stream that was dry. Could the prospector have met a similarly bizarre fate by disturbing the wrong area?
I'm pretty sure this area that we're investigating is not any burial ground. But you never know. New ones are discovered all the time.
Alaska has over 200 tribal communities living in the state today, and there have been hundreds more throughout history. Anywhere you go in Alaska, there's a good chance natives have been there before.
I'd really like to test this theory out at a known burial site.
Nearby, there are actual burial sites. I think it's worth going out and maybe using our equipment to see what comes up.
Do the Nahani have a connection to ground that's been disturbed? Randy and his wife Charlotte think so, based on a strange sighting they had in 2007.
Well, spring had just arrived, and we had bought plants, planted in our backyard in our flower beds. I was digging a hole. My wife had walked inside the house. I heard her call my name. I went inside. She was having trouble getting her picture down on the top shelf, and that's the picture we usually use when we're out in the backyard when we have limited water. We had turned and were ready to walk back outside, and I looked through the window. Saw a very scary man kneeling over the hole that I just dug in the garden. He was wearing some sort of ancient costume or a ancient mask. Hard to really see what it was. In his hand, he had some sort of machete or blade. Very intimidating. I grabbed my wife, who was approaching the door to go outside. She did not see the guy. And I grabbed her, pulled her back. This guy looked insane. We sort of gathered ourselves back inside the house, still looking out the window. And we watched him as he slowly went back into the forest behind our house. And to this day, I have no idea who or what he was.
Tommy leads the team to a local wooded area not far from where the prospector went missing. Recent excavations nearby have confirmed the presence of a native resting place.
Obviously, we would never disturb an actual gravesite, but we don't have to. Based on Jack's and Cody's experiences, theoretically it should only take a light scratching in the ground in an area nearby in order to prompt a response from these spirits. You guys ready to test this theory by breaking ground?
Ready?
Hey, we're gonna capture some audio here, guys.
Again, not seeing anything abnormal in the pictures.
No anomalies?
No, nothing on the thermal imager. EMF hasn't gone off. We're getting nothing.
You know, maybe it doesn't really have anything to do with burial grounds. Maybe we just took a detour. Maybe you're right, Jax. Maybe those heat wisps that we were getting off the river, maybe that did have something to do with magma. I admit there's a decent chance that those heat wisps could have a natural explanation. The problem is, magma doesn't explain how this prospector went missing. It's not like the rescuers found a volcanic vent when they went searching for him. So I'm thinking there could be another explanation. Magma is often associated with the underworld, right? Maybe it's Nahani being Grim Reapers, pulling souls down into the underworld.
Depictions of the underworld have long portrayed it as a realm of fire and brimstone, as if it were embedded in the scorching core of the earth. And while demons are said to rule over it, one figure is responsible for bringing people in: the specter of death, often known as the Grim Reaper, who carries a sickle. Could the Nahani be a manifestation of this widespread belief?
I don't know, Ken. I mean, you want to test this theory? Let's really test it. I'm getting some higher ground, possibly, and see the thermal imager like a hot spot up. I don't know if spirits are real. It's certainly possible. But if there's an actual hidden tribe still lurking out there, maybe the thermal scanner will show where they're hunkered down.
The team makes their way toward a vantage point that offers views of all the surrounding woods and beyond. If there are any more heat anomalies present, they'll be able to find them.
There it is. Wow. Look at that. You can tell why they call it Glacier Bay.
That's worth the climb.
Ken brought along an instrument for just this sort of examination.
Jack's monitor for me?
Absolutely.
Guys, of all the gadgets we've used in our investigations, this may be the coolest in my opinion. Thermal, long-range, binocular transmission unit.
These thermal binoculars are capable of detecting the heat from a warm body as far away as 3 kilometers and will relay the feed to the team's tablet in real time.
Can you go back?
That way?
Yeah. See something there?
What are you seeing?
What is that? There's a heat signature there. But it looks like it's coming from the glacier. You see that?
It's rising.
You know, that doesn't look too different from those heat wisps that were rising off of the river.
The anomaly the team has spotted is similar to the one from their initial investigation, this time on a much larger scale. But what could be causing a glacier to give off heat? Is there a natural explanation? Or is it something more?
What could that be?
I have no idea.
Well, I know this much, guys. It's somewhere where I want to go.
I agree. We need to get over there.
Alaska is notorious for its cold winters and icy tundra. The bitterly low temperatures could be one reason so many people go missing each year in the Alaska Triangle. But could another reason be related to heat? The team spotted a bizarre heat signature coming from a glacier, which seems impossible somehow, I don't know, transmit through the ice? As the team edges closer to their landing zone, they know the dangers of the glacier cannot be overstated. The frigid waters of the bay are fed by the continual shifting of the glacier. Enormous chunks of ice could shed off at any moment. The team must tread carefully.
Oh, all right. Let's get moving.
Shaggy, what are these holes here? So those are muons. Muon. Yep, muons create a network of wet tunnels to the ice. The creation of a muon begins when a glacier shifts and develops cracks in its interior. Meltwater from the surface seeps down into the fissures, finding paths of least resistance, which are widened into passageways. The end result can look like a giant sinkhole, a spectacular but deadly glacial feature. GPS is pointing us right in that direction.
Just a little over 1,000 yards.
Just over 1,000 yards.
Well, we're almost there. Hey, Shaggy, we need to get at least 1,000 yards that direction.
Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of work, but that's all right.
Okay.
Okay, guys. 10 has that angle. You're doing good, brother. Thanks for asking. Hiking over this treacherous glacial terrain, I can't help but think about our first investigation several months ago when I broke my ankle. Oh, God! Coincidence or evil spirits? It's definitely something I don't hurt. How are we looking on the GPS, Jax?
Hey, guys, we're closing in on it. Hey, we're getting close. This is it. Oh, what is this?
But I got spreads of caution.
Holy cow.
Look at that. Oh, my God.
How does that go down?
There's no saying. It's likely that it goes all the way to the bottom of the glacier, which right here is hundreds of feet thick.
Into the bottom.
This is the spot.
We're right on top of it. That's our spot.
According to the GPS, this is where heat was rising from the glacier. If the prospector's disappearance was connected to some thermal activity at the river, this alone might show the team how. That's a huge hole, man. Holy, that's crazy. The mystery of a missing prospector has been tied to the frightening visions of masked warriors in Glacier Bay, Alaska. Descriptions of these men fit the legendary Mahani tribe from Canada, which vanished thousands of years ago. But Juneau resident Naomi is among those who believe they may have returned.
I was out for a jog before work, and I was on a wooded trail outside town. And I started to feel the ground shake a little bit, so I held onto the tree next to me. A few seconds later, the ground stopped shaking, and I looked over in the distance, and there was this huge man wearing a mask that I'd never seen before. Really creepy. I've never seen anything like it. And the second I looked at him, he was staring at me, and a second later, he was gone. I don't know where he went, but I started running again pretty quick. And later on that night, I ran into some friends and asked them if they felt the earthquake, because it was a little weird. And they said they had not felt anything, so whatever happened out there, no one else felt it.
Are you guys feeling any warmth? Nothing at all. That doesn't make sense. I mean, if this is the spot where we were getting the readings, we should be feeling something.
Oh, well, check the thermometers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I guess.
Nothing.
That is strange, guys.
I mean, the conditions from yesterday to today are exactly the same.
Overcast, gray, everything.
There's no reason that we should be getting a different reading. I mean, what else would it?
Makes no sense.
Well, here's something we haven't tried yet. Pull out our camera and send a camera down there. Send it down on a line. See what's down there.
All right, brilliant. With the bottom of the muon not visible to the naked eye, the team will attach a camera to a rope and lower it into the hole. Watch
is going to be, we got a built-in mic on the camera. Plug that in. I guess we'll just monitor it through there.
Yeah, what do you think about the theory of the magnet? What it really was, something from down inside the earth. You feeling it right here, right?
Well, magma that's closest to the surface is minimum 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. So the question is, how much of that heat would diminish by the time it traveled through ice that was 29 degrees to the surface?
It still have some residual.
It might have residual.
Yeah, I'm kind of canceling that out. I mean, you can still heat.
Okay, guys, we're ready to go. Drop the camera.
Okay, and then now you can hand over hand feed that down. You say it's on. Nice and slow.
That's it.
Oh man, we're losing right fast. Well, I don't like Tommy. It's darkness. Volume?
No, nothing yet. I'm hearing the water running. I think we can go down there forever. Man.
Yes. Here. I'm hearing something. Hear that? Yeah, that sounds like the hey, you hear that, right? Yeah.
Am I crazy? What is that? What are you guys hearing? The wind blowing through?
I want to say it's like a balloon or a wind tunnel or something like that.
Yeah, maybe water down there. Maybe meltwater running through it, man. Water from here. We're recording this, right?
Yeah, we can cancel later. Later.
Hey guys, it's hung up on something over here.
What's that, buddy?
It's stuck.
Stop.
It's stuck.
I can't see anything. It's dark, man.
Get a pull on it. Hey guys, it's hung up on something over here. It's stuck.
Stop.
It's stuck.
I can't see anything. It's dark, man.
Get a pull on it. Yeah, just throw it loose. Whoa.
Oh, man.
What?
We lost our camera.
It suddenly felt like it was hung up and then it just broke loose.
That looks good. There might be something down in the ice, that has been in the picture for a long time. That happens. But if you give a singular tug, that just snapped. And, it's not under tension. So you don't have tension pulls. You don't have it kind of charged like if something was rubbing against it slowly. You have an angle.
Sure. Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it's worn through. It looks more like it's a clean cut.
Like it was done with a blade.
Is it possible that we get lower down in there to retrieve it?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that. Glaciers are constantly moving, and the risk that it can close up on us while we're down in there is a legitimate concern. Fortunately, that camera's lost. That sucks. It's not cut our losses.
I'm disappointed that we lost our camera today. And it's a big mystery as far as what could have caused such a clean cut in that road. We still don't know what the heat source was that we detected earlier in this area. When you consider the initial mystery of the missing prospect, these events seem to add up to something more than a dispute over gold.
The team decides it's time to hike out of the glacier to their kayaks before a potential storm moves into the area.
Well, I gotta say, guys, this has by far been one of our strangest investigations. I mean, you get injured. Oh my God! And to come back all these months later, the photographs would be in
signature coming from the glacier, and today it wasn't there. That alone might have a natural explanation, but that heat anomaly has a smell.
Going back to the Nahani, maybe the Nahani aren't as sinister as they sound. I mean, they're not grabbing everybody. They seem to be going after specific individuals, like the people that are digging.
Or they're protecting something.
Right.
But what could people be getting too close to?
Considering that opening and everything that happened up there in that crevasse, it's easy to imagine that we were looking at some type of portal into an underworld. It kind of gets me thinking about the hollow earth theory. I mean, who's to say that there is not some truth to it? Maybe there is a subterranean world beneath us.
The hollow earth theory has been around since ancient times and is often associated with the afterlife, such as the Greek underworld or other religions' concepts of hell. But some believe it to be a more amenable place, with a central sun that provides light for entire civilizations to thrive. This theory got new life in 2014, when a series of huge, mysterious sinkholes were discovered across Siberia, their cause still undetermined. Could there be a connection to a vast void beneath our feet?
So guys, the hollow earth theory is based on the premise that the entrances were located at the north and south poles. As you guys know, the magnetic poles of the earth are constantly shifting. So what if the entrance to the hollow earth has shifted too?
So that's why the Nahani are now in Alaska instead of Canada?
Exactly, the opening is moving. If that's true, then there's actually a portal located here in the state of Alaska. That would explain a lot of the things we're investigating, right?
For now, the mystery of the Nahani, like other apparitions, remains beyond the team's grasp. But could this warrior's appearance, along with other mysterious creatures reported in the Alaska Triangle, point to a larger truth?
Oh, what is this?
Could there be a doorway from another world into ours?
Holy cow!
Allowing all manner of strange and violent beings to invade our realm? If so, Alaska might remain a hotspot of unexplained activity for centuries to come, with people continuing to go missing in Alaska. In 1987, a writer set out to document the strange history of an Alaskan legend, the Kushtaka, also known as the Otter Man. This half-man, half-otter creature of Plymouth lore is reputed to steal people's souls, and it has been blamed for two famous incidents near Thomas Bay. The first was a massive landslide in 1750 that wiped out a village of 500 people. The writer visited the site as part of his research. He then hiked inland along a river valley to the location of the incident from 1900. A prospector searching for a vein of gold claimed to have been run off by a massive otter-like beast. The writer found the spot, but would make it no further. He vanished, leaving behind his campsite and a brief journal of his adventure. Could his search for the Kushtaka have proven successful? The writer hasn't been seen since. Inside the vast frontier of Alaska is a mysterious triangle, where each year, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing. Three investigators look for answers. Jax, a former police officer. Ken, a specialist in strange phenomena. And Tommy, an expert on Alaskan legends. Together, they uncover mysterious sightings and ancient legends stories of those who go missing in Alaska.
Thomas Bay, my kind of place.
The team heads toward the location where the missing writer began his Otterman research, the area where the native village was destroyed more than 250 years ago. It was a native planet fishing village, large for its time, but the area has been desolate since its demise.
Thomas Bay, where we're going, is kind of an isolated, remote area. It's beautiful back in there. People use it for hunting and fishing, but as far as I know, people don't live there.
Now, the legend of the Otterman, it sounds pretty creepy to me. I mean, that would technically keep people away.
The Otterman is a staple of planet folklore. This blend of otter and human is reported by some to be up to 8 feet tall, earning it the nickname Alaska's other Bigfoot, but it's also believed to be a shapeshifter that can disguise itself as a regular-sized river otter, or even as a familiar person, in order to lure victims away, where it can capture them and turn them into other ottermen.
I grew up with these Otterman stories, and it feels like there's something to them. Once I had a river otter look in my window, checking me out, and it definitely seemed like it was more than just an animal.
I understand legends. As long as you want to live in an area where the ground's going to crash on top of you at any moment, with the Bear Glacier over there. I mean, with all the erosion in any moment, something you come down on you. Once you build, it gets wiped out. No one will live here.
The Bear Glacier was first surveyed by the U.S. Coast Guard and Geodetic Survey in 1887. From then until the 1940s, more than 2 kilometers worth of sediment escaped the glacier into Thomas Bay, indicating an ongoing trend of erosion and outwashing. With such an unstable landscape, could an angry, powerful being have caused a collapse that wiped out the town? Although no one lives here anymore, many visitors have reported glimpses of a large, hairy animal that appears to be roaming the territory.
Guys, it's pretty eerie coming in with that low-lying fog. It came out of nowhere. Kind of ominous, right? Doesn't feel like being isolated, that's for sure. Let's read the first entry from his journal. The writer that went missing.
The writer's short journal remains the only glimpse into what he experienced on his fateful expedition nearly 30 years ago.
He writes, a tiring day heading to Thomas Bay, which might explain the unease I feel despite my acceleration in this project. Perhaps the knowledge of all those who perished on this unassuming land weighs too heavily on me. I assume I'll feel more like myself tomorrow. That's your...
The team starts retracing the writer's path, heading toward its final campsite. Although it's believed that this area is uninhabited, one theory is that the writer fell victim to people who might be hidden in these parts.
Hey, hold on, guys. By the way, let's just keep looking for any signs of anyone living there. Yeah, this looks completely undisturbed. Well, what I'm most interested in is finding signs of river otters. Again, it just, to me, I find this connection between the quote-unquote otter man fascinating. It could somehow be derived off of real otters.
The habitat of river otters extends throughout southern Alaska and across most of North America as well. Their highly playful nature and social interaction is very human-like, which might have inspired the Otterman legend. But how did the story take such a dark turn? Perhaps the centuries of encroaching hunters that recklessly depleted river otter numbers led to fears of the Otterman turning vengeful and violent against humans.
This is Tommy.
Part of an old construction that was here. They built all the houses up on pilings, keeping out of the water.
Hey guys, check this out.
What you got?
Well, a whole bunch over there, Tom.
A bunch of mussels here, some
Crabs,
crab.
mussel shells. They're all empty. There's a whole pile right here. Could this be ours?
extra vigilant while hiking through here, or like you said, hunters?
I mean, would humans do this? Actually eat these raw?
It's possible, but we usually build a fire to them.
Well, this potentially could be sign of a river otter. I mean, I don't think we can eliminate that at this point. But it might be on our track.
I always appreciate Ken's enthusiasm for his theories. Finding evidence of an otter doesn't mean there's an otter man. What it could mean is there are larger predators that feed on otters, so we need to be careful.
As night settles in, the team continues their long hike up the river, following their GPS tracker toward the riders' final campsite.
Hey guys. Yeah. This is it right here, guys. Right on top of
X marks the spot.
Well, this makes sense, you know. Look at down there. The river's way down there. When you're building a camp here, you want to build camp on high ground. You're going to be flooded out in case of the heavy rains.
Real quick, this is a journal. Okay, this is the last journal entry. It's the last known spot right here. Day 2 of the trip, and I seem to have filled my head with so many thoughts of Kushika. My mind is incapable of entertaining anything else. Already I've imagined a voice in the woods and a shadow amongst the trees. I'll explore the area tomorrow when the sunlight is much stronger and my nerve much steadier.
A voice in the woods and a shadow in the trees. It's pretty creepy. You guys notice that other than the sound of the river, we haven't heard any wildlife out here at all?
You're right.
You remember that story about the prospector that came up here in the year 1900? One of the things he talked about was the strange lack of wildlife in this area.
According to the prospector, named Charlie, he was sent into the strange wilderness ahead of his crew to locate a reported vein of gold. He arrived in the area and began scouting, but instead of finding riches, he spotted a large, hairy creature galloping toward him. It was humanoid, with coarse fur and claw-like fingers. Charlie fled the scene, claiming the creature was right on his heels before he lost it in the river. Natives who heard the story immediately claimed it was the Kushtaka.
I mean, I think from here, all we've left to do is spread out and see what else we can find. But I heard a story about a big hairy animal chasing someone. I assume it's a bear. We haven't seen any signs of bear out here yet. But the prospector story is well over 100 years ago. They could have been all over the place then.
Bears are only one type of dangerous animal that could be in these parts. Moose injure more people each year than bears, and wolves have also been known to rage through these woods. Where they are now is anyone's guess. But modern sightings suggest there is still something active in this area.
Hey guys, come over. I think I have something. There's a big den over here.
What do you got?
Hey guys, I think I found something. Hold this for a second. Yeah, look in there. Oh, looks like hair. Yeah, man, that looks like fur. This is the first time we got any kind of animal. This is fur.
The hair in the dugout suggests a recent presence. If it's a predator, that might explain why other wildlife is staying hidden.
You hear that?
What's that? Who's that?
Each year, missing persons cases in the Alaska Triangle number in the thousands. Wolves and bears are suspected in at least some of these cases, but could a river otter be partly to blame? Legends of the shape-shifting otter man drew a writer's interest, only to see him become a statistic when he disappeared during his investigation. Now the team is exploring the same location.
All right, guys.
You hear that?
What's that? Who's that? Where'd it come from, guys? Shh. How long is the recorder up?
Dude, I have no idea what that was. It sounded like a baby crying.
Over there.
Think we can track it down?
Let's grab a look.
Legend states that the otter man imitates other beings in order to lure its victims to him to be captured
Check this out.
Where you at, Tommy?
Up here.
Yeah, buddy.
Look at this. Back there. Over here.
Tommy, you know what these tracks are?
They look like box tracks to me.
Let's get some photos of this.
Foxes can make vocalizations that sound very similar to a human baby.
Yeah, but we should have an expert listen to the audio recordings to confirm that.
The team gets back to work scouring for clues, but tonight there's no more evidence to be found. The next day, after sending their samples to a lab for analysis, Ken and Tommy travel to nearby Sitka to visit Gary, an expert in Kushtok lore, who also happens to be the father of Tommy's girlfriend.
Well, Tommy, hey Gary, how you doing? Good, how you doing? You guys want to come on in? Sure. What's going on, guys? Is there some way I can help you?
We're investigating stories about Kushtok. Maybe you have some your own personal stories on this.
I grew up knowing there was a Kushtok, knowing that there was a otter man to be feared.
Why are the native people so fearful of the Kushtok? What is so terrifying about this creature?
Because they're afraid that they're going to steal their soul and their body, turn them into a Kushtok, and when they do that, they'll never get reincarnated as a human being again. They'll do anything to get you away from the safety of your home or your village. They can shapeshift into your loved one, or even a best friend.
The descriptions of the shape-shifting, to me it's very reminiscent of other global legends of shape-shifting types of beings or entities.
Shapeshifters pervade ancient lore and are almost always based on animals that are local to the culture. Japanese legends describe the kitsune, a fox with up to 9 tails that can assume human form. The Scottish and Irish have the selkie, a seal that can shed its skin to become a person on land. And the Navajo reenact stories of skinwalkers, natives who can transform into any animal in their realm. Some historians believe these legends were inspired by people with abnormalities, as if they were something other than fully human. Could the human-like qualities of the otter have made it a natural fit for the Alaskan version of this folklore?
Are there any talismans or things that you can do to protect yourself?
They don't like iron or steel because they know that they can be weapons. They're definitely afraid of dogs.
So, Gary, we're going to be going out into the woods and doing some more investigation. Maybe we can borrow your dog, Clyde.
Oh, Clyde would be a good dog to take with you. That would be afraid of them.
I think it might help us if we could actually speak to someone who's experienced or seen Kushtok. Something that you know about that.
I know a young man that has seen one recently, and I can introduce you to him.
That would be terrific.
Okay.
As Ken and Tommy get information about our witness, Jax visits the lab where the team left their evidence for examination. Rick Mueller, a biologist who's an expert on native Alaskan species, has finished his analysis.
Hey, how we doing?
Jax, how are you?
See you again.
See you again.
Got some stuff for me?
I do.
Very, very cool.
Examined your recording, and I do have some results. I'm going to play your recording.
Okay.
And like you were saying, it does sound like a baby screaming. And here's a recording that we have in our database.
Right, that was a lot like
We recorded that was a red fox. The audio that you supplied in the background is a faint chattering. You hear that?
I do hear that.
And that's called geckering.
Fox geckering is a unique sound that separates their vocalizations from other species. While sometimes used by kids in playtime, it's most commonly employed during aggressive encounters or uttered as a warning.
The strange thing is, up until this point, we had seen no signs of wildlife. The forest was eerily quiet.
That's unusual. Usually you hear a lot of sound from squirrels to magpies, so it could be quite obvious that there's something that's making these foxes very disturbed.
So what about the fur?
The fur, I can tell you, was a different story to me. I'd like to just move this. DNA analysis reflects reflects that it's river otter,
Okay.
but we've never seen a hair that long.
I thought he was going to say the fur was from a fox, which would match the sound and the print that we found. Or maybe a bear, which was my leading theory for what happened with missing rider. They didn't say otter, shocked me.
The sample that you supplied was 3 to 4 times longer than what you can see right here. And that's very abnormal. Longer hair is usually reserved for your non-aquatic animals.
So we're dealing with a river otter positively. Is possibly an anomaly or a subspecies that hasn't been identified.
It's not something I've ever seen. It has me mystified.
The river otter has long been a staple of the Alaskan landscape. Could it also help answer the mystery of why so many people go missing in the Alaska Triangle? A sea otter is a second branch of this family tree. Evolution has made it up to 4 times larger than its cousin and adapted it with paddle-like rear limbs and increased foot webbing so it can live almost exclusively in water. Considering such specializations, the team has to consider the possibility of a third strain of this creature, an otter highly suited to land that's big enough to target humans. The otter man, also known as the Kushnaka, pervades the lore of the Tlingits of Southeast Alaska, who believe it can steal your soul. The team has discovered some odd fur, identified by DNA as river otter, but longer than normal for the species. Could this be a validation of the Kushtaka, or is it just a genetic quirk on an otherwise ordinary otter? Based on a lead from Gary, Ken and Jax meet with a witness named Alex, who claims to have had a run-in with the Kushtaka a few months ago.
Pretty good, interesting story to tell us.
I was out running on my favorite trail, and as I was running, I saw my friend up ahead of me. And I yelled out after him, and he just kept on going. And I was yelling his name, and nothing. So I finally stopped, and he bolted into the woods. And that's when I figured, okay, I just need to figure out where he's headed. Maybe I'll meet him there. So I tried to give him a call, and then he can hear me. And he picks up after the first ring. He goes, hey, Alex, how are you? That's what I called to ask you. I see you're out here. Where are you going? Maybe I can meet him. He says, I'm at my house. Not winded. It was strange. I got this weird feeling inside. This is not right. I got out of there as soon as possible.
Sometimes people are, you're running, your adrenaline's up, you got fatigue, you might be making a mistake. Are you really sure that was your friend?
Yeah, maybe just someone that looked like him, and
This is a small town. We know everybody here. Everybody knows everybody here. I know that was my friend. We all raised the stories, and I'm absolutely positive. It's got to be a Kushika.
Why don't you tell us what you know? What is the Kushika in your experience?
Well, half otter, half man. It's a shapeshifter, and tries to lead people into the woods. Died. Who else could it be? That's exactly what this person who was looking like my friend was doing.
So, Alex, approximately where was this location where you saw your friend take off into the woods?
It was on the Indian River Trail.
Why do you think it'd be after you? Why do you think it'd be drawing you away?
Not sure. I'm not sure.
The team heads to the location of Alex's sighting. The Indian River is located just outside of Sitka, a mere 90 miles from Thomas Bay and the outgoing sightings there.
This is the jogging trail right here the witness described, Ken.
They are hopeful there might be some lingering clues.
Here? Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's the way. You want to head that way? I'll go this way.
Sounds good.
Take a little, Ken.
Okay.
All right.
If they can find any shoe prints, that could help them track down anyone who ran here. Even a sliver of a protein bar wrapper might have some DNA on it.
Hey, Jax, are you seeing anything?
Nothing so far.
But after 2 hours of searching, they don't find a trace.
It's really disappointing not to find any evidence here. As of now with this incident, all we have is one man's story. Eyewitnesses can be unreliable. I've done thousands of interviews with witnesses who are sane, sober, and articulate adults, and they still get items wrong. They can still get colors wrong, descriptions wrong, even as simple as someone having hair or not having hair. It's just how it is. The human brain fills in facts. It's just an option we have to really consider that he just did see somebody he thought was his friend. It wasn't.
Well, man, that's definitely a possibility, but it fits the traits of the Kushnikov. I mean, what does it do? It targets individuals and then leads them out into the wilderness, leads them astray. And that's exactly what this guy's describing.
We just have to be careful that we're not sticking his statement into that story because he knows what a Kushnik is. That's all I'm saying.
All accounts that I've heard of growing up here, Kushnikov will lure people either into the woods or down to the river. This ravine is all channeled together and they're headed right down towards the river. You're going to find a river otter that's going to find them.
The team doesn't know if they're dealing with a creature or a person with bad intentions. But either way, the river is a prime spot. A person could dispose of evidence there, or even use it for a quick getaway.
This is a lot calmer right here.
You're right. I think maybe it's a good location to look around for a sign of otter footprints.
Sounds good. Look around. Get a nice soft bank for tracks, too.
Rain's been coming down pretty hard today, guys. I think the tracks will get wiped out pretty quick in the soft mud.
Hey guys, I think we've got something. Check it out.
What do you got? Check that out.
The state of Alaska has the highest rate of missing people in the country. Are there dangers here besides rugged terrain, harsh weather, and known predators? The Klingon folklore of southeast Alaska describes a terrifying creature called the Kushnika, or otter man, that lures people into the woods and turns them into other Kushnikas. A witness testimony about this shape-shifting beast has led the team to the Indian River near Sitka, where they may have unearthed a clue.
Hey guys, I think we've got something. Check it out.
What do you got? Oh wow, check that out.
Well, floating the waters and like something was coming through here and got snagged or mistake.
Doesn't look like bear hair. I wouldn't think canine either. It's a little too
dense.
Yeah, pretty thick.
This looks a lot like what we found the other day.
None of the river otters that I know of have hair this long.
Well, this is the anomaly they got brought up with the technician the other day. Is that everything DNA-wise met it was a river otter.
Yeah.
Not a shadow of a doubt, but except for the length. This just might be the spot where we need to focus our attention, guys. There are real but abnormal otters running around out here. Well, maybe that's what inspired the Kushnika legends. And this is our chance to catch one. I think we should get some gear, get back here and stake the area out.
I think we need to.
A real otter with physical anomalies might explain the shapeshifter part of Kushnika lore. Could such an animal manipulate its features to look like other animals? A real-life example of this talent is the mimic octopus, capable of imitating a rigid flatfish when it swims, making itself less appetizing to massive predators. Octopi can also change their color and texture to mimic their environment, hiding invisibly on plants and coral. While these traits are used as defense, similar abilities can be used to attack prey, which is the core of the Kushnika legend. It's a possibility that Brad Benson takes seriously after experiencing something strange outside Juneau in 2011.
A friend and I were doing a volunteer shift cleaning up garbage along the side of a stretch of road just outside of town. And he had his headphones in. He was about 20 yards from me. Suddenly my friend called out to me from off among the trees. I went for him. I said, hey, there's big pile of garbage back here. We need to get it. So I grabbed another bag and opened it up. And as I did, a jogger and her dog came running around the corner, and the dog immediately started barking like crazy. I looked back to where my friend was standing, and the only thing I saw was just this flash of brown creature with no tail disappearing in the woods. And I looked back towards the dog and the jogger, and behind them, my friend steps out of the woods. But there's no way he got from point A to point B that quickly. Even so, I asked him if he had called me in the woods. He said he didn't know what I was talking about. It wasn't even him.
The team convenes at Gary's house to procure some small game traps in case it's just a regular-sized otter leaving the strange bird behind. And if it's a Kushtaka, those are said to often appear as regular river otters, making them vulnerable as well. The team will set the traps up in the river for an overnight stakeout.
Right here, got it.
Same thing since the
Slam shot, and crab's alive in that without hurting it.
If this is actually an otter we're dealing with, then the baited trap should draw it out. But if it's the otter man, the fact that we're all going to be separated should draw it out. Come on, Clyde. We'll essentially make ourselves bait, with a little protection just in case.
With Tommy bringing Clyde the dog, Jax toting his sidearm, and Ken packing bear spray, the team heads back to the river. They've identified a bridge where Ken can set up home base.
Guys, all the points lead to right here. The fur you found, Tommy, about a quarter mile downstream right there. And we're in the same general area where that mystery jogger was seen. I think this is the perfect location to stage our investigation.
Ken will run a central command post from the spot on the bridge, while Jax and Tommy head in opposite directions.
Look here up and look here.
Jax and Tommy will have cameras mounted on their chests that will send a live feed of what they see to Ken's town.
Good.
Can you on me?
Yep, got it.
All right.
The first trap is set up near Ken's position on the bridge. The others will be placed farther along the river.
Right here, Tommy?
Right here's perfect.
Right. Hey, you want to grab Tommy's pack?
Yeah.
I'll hold it like in there. Yep. Perfect. All right, what's that here? What's up with the line? It's going crazy. Hey, Jack. Jack. All right, what's that here? What's up with the line? It's going crazy. Jack. Jack. See anything, Tommy?
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing tracks, and Clyde's not picking up anything more here. Okay. I looked at canines before, and their sense of smell is a good 10,000 times stronger than ours. So I've no doubt that Clyde sensed something. How are you doing, Ken?
You guys see anything?
No.
What happened?
I don't know. The dog alerted and
Got worked up over something over there.
couldn't find what it was, but we need to get those other traps set before we lose all our life here. So
All right, this one's set.
let's get back to work.
Yeah.
The team members separate and head toward their respective posts. Ken will monitor the others from the bridge, while Jax patrols an area upriver and Tommy an area downriver. Jax sets another trap at the river's edge. Since this one will be unmanned, he will set up a trail camera to keep an eye on it. It's motion sensitive with high definition night vision, so it will reveal anything that comes sniffing around. With the team in position, night settles in. For Tommy, it's an unsettling situation.
I've heard stories my whole life about the Kushtaka and how dangerous they
Hey, I got nothing. Another job. Hold on, I'm checking it now. There's no movement near the trap. Come on, bud. Robin, this is Ken. You called me. Yeah. You doing all right, brother? Hey, I'm not seeing anything here yet. What are you guys seeing? Yeah, it's pretty quiet up here on the bridge, too. Hey, Ken, I think I hear something. I'm going to go check it out. Keep it on the camera, radio silence for me. All right, guys. All right. I hear the trap gets sprung down below. From the bridge, it appears empty. But I need to make sure. And I can't break radio silence to call for backup, so I need to investigate this on my own. What was that? What are you doing here? We're following the noise and then with the trap will walk down the river. Check this out, man. The bait's gone and the trap was sprung. Yeah, I guess. Jax. What's that noise? Something pretty huge splashed over there in the water. Right there in the river. Well, let's go over and check it out. This is extremely disturbing. I mean, whatever jumped in that water, it was probably within 50 feet. Jax. What? Mike's got something here. Yeah, check this out. Fine. Trap? Got a funny pad right here. Oh, yeah. Something's been through here. Oh, shit. What was that? 4 toes, claws, deep pad. Maybe this guy. What is that, a bear? I don't know what it is. You don't think it should just be old, be spread out? This blood's pretty gummy. See how the digits are all in alignment there? It's large like a bear, though. And what about a large wolf? Man, it's hard to say what that could be. That's huge, man. That's bigger than my hand. I'm with you there, but I'm just telling you, the morphology of the track looks like an otter track. And I'll tell you what, guys, whatever made this track, I wouldn't want to run into it. Ken is clearly on edge. He seems convinced that Kushika really got him. I'm sure it's something else, but whatever it is, we need a safer approach to the stakeout. I mean, if it's a bear or if it's some large otter, we don't need to be separated the rest of the night. We need to stay together. Yeah. All right. Here, hang tight. Let me get a picture of that.
This print is frightening to me. It doesn't resemble an oversized otter, which is a scary prospect.
Okay.
And it does confirm my beliefs.
The team sticks together for the remainder of the stakeout, but the rest of the night remains quiet. After some wildlife experts had had a chance to analyze the print, the team reconvenes to discuss the findings.
So I submitted the photos of the trap that we found. Came back completely inconclusive. That trap was incomplete, too smeared. It's kind of a dead end. Just, to me, disappointing.
Well, that is disappointing. It is. Honestly, I thought we had something pretty remarkable there. It obviously was a large-sized animal.
Probably the biggest thing out of the whole investigation was the fur. Finding that in two different locations has to make me wonder, especially after having the lab analyze it, and it's coming back as river or land otter. There's nothing that's going to be identifiable with that kind of length to the fur.
Yeah, it's not like any river otter that I've ever seen. It's just too long.
You know, guys, I've been thinking, last night was crazy. You guys each individually heard a noise that distracted you and led you off, right when I heard that trap go off. And consequently led me off of my post on the bridge down to the woods, as if it was trying to lead me when I was at my most vulnerable position, alone on the bridge. If these creatures do exist, as I believe they may, that may have been a whole strategy that had been played out. Maybe several of these creatures were working together in tandem to lead us out into the wilderness, to make us wish to go steal.
It makes for a nice ghost story. It's like Boogeyman, but it's definitely hard for me to believe that this is some sort of man/otter, you know what I mean? I think you're just looking for some anomaly. A new species of otter that hasn't been found or researched before.
Well, I know all my life I've heard these stories, and I've talked to people that they've experienced these different happenings, and I can't dismiss that.
The idea that an evil force can take on any identity at once might be the most frightening legend of all. Could that be the lesson at the heart of the Otterman lore?
I grew up knowing there was a Kushtaka to be feared.
Is it simply a warning that even the most innocent-looking being could be concealing a sinister side? Or is it possible that evolution has created a unique creature, one much larger than its cousins, with different features and an eye toward human conquest? Either way, buried somewhere within this legend could be one more reason that people go missing in Alaska. In 1999, in Seward, Alaska, Jenna Miller was out doing a training run on a marathon. This grueling 3-mile trail hosts an annual race that draws hundreds of participants. Jenna was planning to take part in it. 200 yards from the top, a hiker named Marlo warned Jenna to hurry. A storm was rolling in. She assured him she would, and continued toward the top. Moments later, Marlo saw something in the sky. A bird the size of a small plane. And it was headed toward Jenna's position. Legends of a massive thunderbird are common among Alaskan tribes and have been depicted in native art for centuries. Could these legends be based on something real? Jenna never made it down the mountain and has not been seen since. Inside the vast frontier of Alaska is a mysterious triangle where each year 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing. police officer. Ken, a specialist in strange phenomena. And Tommy, an expert on Alaskan legends. Together, they uncover mysterious sightings and ancient legends, exploring the possibilities of those who go missing in Alaska. The team begins their investigation by exploring Mount Marathon, which overlooks Seward, Alaska on the Kenai Peninsula. They're taking a two-pronged approach. Jax and Tommy will hike the trail, looking for anything that might explain Gemma's disappearance, while Ken gets a bird's-eye view from the helicopter.
So did this race start off as a joke?
Kind of a dare.
Yeah?
Yeah, one fisherman dared another fisherman to run up the mountain in a kind of a competitive way.
According to Mount Marathon folklore, a local man challenged another to get up and down the harsh 3-mile trail in under an hour. The attempt failed, but the challenge has been reenacted yearly since 1915 as an organized race every 4th of July. The current record for the difficult route is just under 42 minutes, but Jenna didn't have the benefit of race day support. Could she have suffered an accident during her training run, from which there was no return?
Well, I don't understand. I mean, this is a massive search for her. You have National Guard, volunteers.
Hundreds of volunteers out here.
How she could just go missing like that? I think I give her some time to at least find some clothing and bones.
Right. Something.
As Ken scans the ravines and gullies of the higher elevations, Jax and Tommy head off trail to see what hazards might be lurking below the tree line.
About bears, it's one of my biggest theories. Even if she fell and was hurt,
Always that possibility.
there's a lot of ways that Jenna could have gotten hurt out here. What doesn't make sense is how she vanished completely. Hey, Ken, you there? No, not yet.
And considering that witness testimony,
The thunderbird is one of the most revered and feared creatures of Alaskan lore. Its high stature is embodied by its place of prominence atop totem poles. It's described as a massive bird of prey with a wingspan of 25 feet or more, as well as a hooked beak, curved horns, and vicious talons. Its strength is also legendary, with stories of it snatching whales for a meal. And as its name suggests, it is believed capable of spawning violent storms by beating its enormous wings. In North America, the Thunderbird legend is second only to Bigfoot, number of reported sightings. A famous case happened in Walladale, Illinois in 1977, when a monstrous bird snatched a 10-year-old boy and carried him 35 feet until his mother helped rescue him. No one could conclusively identify what kind of bird it was.
What of all the theories of the Thunderbird do you most lean to?
Pterosaurs were a class of gigantic birds that ruled the skies until about 10,000 years ago. The largest had wingspans of well over 20 feet, with stout, powerful legs and a sharp, hooked beak for snatching prey. They lived for millions of years until disappearing from the fossil record, along with other major fauna at the end of the Pleistocene.
It's going to be anywhere. It's going to be here in Alaska. All places to get hide and food resources and everything.
beyond Mount Marathon have lots of craggy peaks and hidden clefts in the rock. The team believes this could be a place where large birds are able to roost and remain out of sight.
Wow. Damn, Jack, look at that. How steep that is.
Yeah. That do, man.
Wow.
So I think we're about 200 yards from the top. It's the last spot you can see. How clear that is all the way out there. It's not like when we were down there at the tree line. It's wide open. Looking around, I don't understand how someone could go missing.
Hey guys, I got eyes on you. Just circle around, come check out Sunday Mountain. It looks like you're right in the spot we get over last week. How was the climb? Over.
Treacherous.
Yeah, it's a brutal hike. No doubt about it. Safe for me to just go into something to get up with you guys. Over. It's actually unfortunate that today's weather is so clear and sunny. Thunderbird sightings are most often associated with inclement weather, and it might help our investigation yield more clues if there was a storm approaching. Well done, gentlemen. Find anything?
No. Not at all. Think about it, with all the rains that were coming down, make the path really muddy, obviously a lot of debris and stuff you can trip over. With large rains, all that water should expose your body, and maybe you shouldn't have done.
The storm actually supports the Thunderbird theory, right, Tommy?
Some of the native legends say that the Thunderbird creates the thunder and lightning shooting from its eyes.
Most skeptics think it's a large bird, something like a California condor or something like that. Let's give this summit a thorough once over.
Okay. Guys, definitely interested in droppings and discarded food items or things that look like they may have been dropped in the air, right? I know the larger birds like California condors, they actually will fall off of cliffs to get airborne.
It's a straight drop here, guys.
Something like a large bird can fall off this cliff and ride the thermal updrafts.
The rising winds in this area are ideal for birds like the condor, which is known to soar for an hour without flapping its wings, saving its energy.
The body fell down here. Momentum would take it pretty far.
Guys, I know it's been years since Genesis' appearance, but birds are known to come home to roost. So, I mean, there's potential here that there could still be some evidence. The question is, what kind of evidence are we looking for?
That's just it, guys. We haven't found anything. That leads me to this runaway bride theory. I mean, what if Jenna was missing on purpose? Maybe the possibility this might have been a ruse, like
To start a new life.
Yeah, it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
So I want to check with maybe a family member, see if there's more to her disappearance than what everybody else knows.
That's a good idea. Hearing that, Tommy and I'll go track down that eyewitness.
All right.
With the initial reconnaissance of Mount Marathon providing little to go on, the team splits up to do some further research. Ken and Tommy go to meet the key witness, a man named Marlowe, who claims to have seen a large bird just before Jenna's disappearance.
Hi. Marlowe?
Oh, yes, sir.
Hi. I'm Ken.
Hey, Ken.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Hey, Tommy.
Man, thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad to help. I've always felt a little weird about being the last person to see Jenna alive.
Yeah.
And I would love to see some resolution in the case.
So tell us about the day that Jenna disappeared.
There was a storm coming down, and I exchanged a few words with her. I basically just told her to hurry back down the mountain before the storm hit. She said that she definitely would. She was sweating and tired, but she seemed mentally sound and alert.
So tell me about the sighting you had on the way down the mountain.
I happened to glance up, and I saw this really dark figure flying in the sky. My first thought was it was an airplane. I mean, the wingspan had to have been at least 20 feet easy. But almost immediately I noticed that there was no noise. Then all of a sudden it banked, and I could tell it was a bird. It was really dark, and I could see a hooked bill. And as it banked and flew by, I could also tell that there was some really huge talons on the bottom and stuck in deep. So it curved back and then flapped its wings and basically just beelined it straight to the top of the mountain. But only later when I heard a
disappearing, it occurred to me that maybe this large bird had snatched her up or something like that. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before, and I've lived here for a long time.
You think you can draw us a sketch of this bird?
I actually got one better. I've got a video.
Video.
Alaska is home to great numbers of large birds. Eagles especially thrive in this vast expanse, which is rich with fish and other prey. But could there be a flying creature much bigger than any eagle? Is there a raptor in Alaska large enough to inspire stories of the thunderbird, a legendary creature that can control the weather and snatch large animals with its powerful talons? A witness named Barlow claims to have seen such an animal just before a woman went missing on Mount Marathon, and now he's making an even bigger claim.
You think you can draw us a sketch of this bird?
I actually got one better. I've got a video.
You got a video of the bird? It's a giant bird.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a video of the day that Jenna disappeared, but yeah, the video.
Marlowe's video was recorded by a friend who saw a large bird and sent the footage to him. Could it be the evidence the team has been waiting for?
I had contacted the police, but the police, they just dismissed it. They didn't bother looking at the video. So,
Definitely around. Yeah, I look at that little wingspan on that. Hard to tell how big it is. Yeah, it's a good sized bird, but there's no point of reference.
yeah, this was, again, it was taken 7 years ago. The resolution isn't as good as I'd like.
That's raptor. It's just hard to see exactly what that is. I am seeing a kind of a light fringe. I would love to have this analyzed, maybe spend some time kind of reviewing this and get it checked out and see what kind of exactly.
I've been actively investigating accounts of giant mystery birds for over a dozen years now, so I'm anxious to get this footage looked at, because this can be definitive proof that the Thunderbird actually exists.
As Hannah and Tommy download a copy of Marlowe's video, Chance goes to meet with Jenna's cousin Stephen. He's curious if Jenna might have any personal motivations for disappearing on purpose.
Stephen.
Jax, nice to meet you for taking the time. I think for the case, yeah, it's been 16 years. I'm kind of surprised. I'm grateful. I'm surprised people are still interested in the case.
As an investigator, I'm always trying to look at all the possibilities of a case, so that's why I want to pick your brain about things, try to know what you had to offer. Is there any reason that you can think of that you would have intentionally gone missing? Trying to get away from something, whether that's an enemy or something like that.
I don't know of any enemies she might have had.
Other financials.
I don't know, we never really talked about money. She seemed pretty well off for herself. I mean, she wasn't asking for money, but...
Any boyfriends or any kind of abuse in her life?
She seemed really happy. And there's only one way up and down that mountain. So even if she did want to disappear on her own, it'd be kind of difficult. I mean, somebody would have seen her coming through.
Stephen's responses, assuming that they're genuine, are undercutting the runaway bride theory. Maybe Jenna was a normal, well-adjusted girl, and she just went missing because of natural causes. I do appreciate your time. If I come across any leads, I'll be in contact.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackson.
Experts dismiss the possibility of any modern bird picking up a human. But Judy Benson believes that it not only happened to Jenna Miller, it almost happened to her a decade ago near Dillingham.
Well, it was early spring, and the weather was nice, so I decided to go for a jog. And I was about 2 miles into my run when I thought I noticed something above the tree line. I glanced over, but nothing was there. A moment later, I got this really eerie feeling that I was being followed. And I stopped running and I turned to look. And that's when I saw this enormous shape rise up above the tree line. It passed in front of the sun. I didn't know what I was looking at. And then I realized I was looking at the biggest bird I'd ever seen in my life. It was as big as a Cessna. That's when I realized it was circling. And I remembered that birds of prey circle just before they're about to attack. So I ran into the woods, scared out of my mind. circled once more and flew away. I waited a moment and stepped back out on the road, and I hightailed it home as fast as I could. I'll never, never forget what it felt like to be prey to that bird.
With Marlowe's video in hand, Ken and Jax meet up to visit Dr. James Klein, an ornithologist who is an expert on local birds.
Dr. Klein?
Hi.
Hi, Ken Gerhardt. I'm curious to get Dr. Klein's opinion on this potential Thunderbird video. But first, I want to get his take on the endemic species, the types of birds that are native to Alaska that might explain the legends and the sightings. We're here to gather more information and kind of pick your brain about the history and taxonomy of large bird species, and particularly here in Alaska. What can you tell us about the largest birds in the world today?
Largest wingspan of any living bird known today is that wandering albatross. Now, he's got a wingspan of about 12 feet. It doesn't reside in Alaska, so we're not going to see it up here. The largest predatory bird in the entire world is the Andean condor. So the Andean condor is going to have a wingspan of about 10.5 feet. But of course, it resides in the Andes Mountains and on the Pacific coast of South America, so we're not going to see it in Alaska either. The largest North American bird is California condor. Now that's got a wingspan of about 10 feet, but again, its territory is going to be limited to California, Arizona, and during certain times of either southern Utah. We haven't had documented sightings of them up this way.
So what are the largest bird species that can be found in Alaska?
The bald eagle, and that is quite prominent in Alaska. The large females are going to get a wingspan of about 8 feet. So again, we're going to see those throughout a lot of Alaska. But all four of these birds just aren't likely to be able to carry a person.
Is it true that eagles can only pick up about 50% of half of their body weight?
Yeah, about half is pretty accurate.
Are there any chances parent ones are still alive today?
It's highly unlikely, but there is always the possibility. We've seen it throughout history. It's what's called the Lazarus taxon.
A Lazarus taxon is a species thought to be extinct that was then found alive. The most famous example is the coelacanth, believed to have died out 65 million years ago, until a specimen was found near South Africa in 1938. Could the thunderbird be a Lazarus taxon territory that's still hidden in the wilds of Alaska?
I do have one other thing. We follow you for an expert opinion on the video.
Oh, sure.
Tell us what that bird is.
It's a nice looking specimen.
So, tell us what it is.
The vast state of Alaska is 1/5 the size of the continental U.S., but its population is approximately the same as San Francisco. With so much untamed land, the Alaska Triangle is the highest rate of people going missing in the country. Could one of the causes be coming from above? Flying creatures with 40-foot wingspans are not fictional. The Quetzalcoatlus, the largest flying animal of all time, was this size when it roamed the skies during the Cretaceous period. Could there be a similar creature alive today? Legends of a massive thunderbird are well known in native folklore, and a modern sighting could be connected to a runner vanishing from a mountaintop. A video of just such a flying creature might answer if the thunderbird is real.
Can you tell us what that bird is?
It's a nice looking specimen. It appears to be a turkey vulture.
Native to Alaska?
They're not native to Alaska, but with their ability to travel vast distances with relatively little energy expended, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
I'm honestly not surprised that this bird is a known species, but Marlowe did say that it was smaller than the bird he saw when Jenna went missing, so maybe these are different animals altogether. This video does prove one thing. Large birds can be active here without people realizing it.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Judging the size of an airborne bird can be difficult. But Carlos Diego claims to have had a thunderbird sighting
storms at dilemma. It was a clear spring day outside. I was in my driveway replacing the battery that had gone bad in my truck when I could hear something off in the distance. I looked up and I saw something. I figured it was just a small bush plane. But I looked closer and I realized this thing was not a plane at all. It was moving like a bird. So I started thinking it has to be much closer than I realized because there's no way any bird is that big. That's when I noticed that it was carrying something. People don't believe me when I say this, but this gigantic bird is carrying a deer. I was terrified, but I couldn't move. This thing flew right over me, and then it was gone. I've never seen anything like that again.
After determining that Barlow's video was a known species and not a thunderbird, Jackson had to go to meet with Tommy. There's still a chance Barlow's earlier sighting on Mount Marathon was a larger unknown bird, but the team will need more evidence to consider the thunderbird as a possibility.
But, hey guys, I'm man. What's up? Well, I've been looking in on the finding that connection on the thunderbird and storms. And a lot of the stories that I'm reading about the thunderbird, that the thunderbird is supposedly flapping its wings, creating these storms. So I went over and checked out the NASA database, the date Jenna went missing, and some interesting stuff here. Check this out. Wow. This is the Aleutian down here. We got these cloud systems here. They're coming in off the Aleutians, heading right towards the Kenai Peninsula, where it's Seward's at. Next one here. Look at that. Wow, see these ripple patterns here? That's wild. There's a direction there and another direction here.
Looking at these images, I can't help but visualize the giant flapping wings of a bird creating these waves in the clouds. Obviously, I can't say that's what it is. But based on the legends, I have to wonder if there's a connection between storms like this and sightings of the thunderbird.
Well, it looks like sound waves going through the clouds.
Yeah, almost like something is out there creating a pulsing structure out there.
I think we need to find an expert on the weather, meteorologist.
And this is beyond me. I have trouble believing that a single animal could be affecting the weather like this. Something very strange is going on. Maybe a swarm of animals is causing this. Or maybe it's man-made somehow. But either way, it's worth investigating.
Still ahead.
Alaska is known for its extremes, from its mountains to its weather. Could there be an extreme animal, a thunderbird, capable of creating storms with the flapping of its wings? The team wants to learn more about the bizarre cloud patterns that occurred near Mount Marathon on the day Jenna went missing. They meet with geophysicist Gary Hufford, who has helped them on previous investigations.
Is this your guy? Gary. Hi, Gary. Well, hi, guys. Good seeing you again. Same here. You got some interesting cases looking at? We do, actually. Investigating a story of a missing person. Okay. The first week of July, years ago, during the springtime, up on Mount Marathon, a runner named Jenna disappeared on the mountain without a trace. The day that Jenna went missing, there was a storm that was brewing and had blown in, and we actually were able to get some satellite images of that. Oh, back there, have a look here. We appreciate your expert opinion here. This is really a neat picture because, now that picture is incredibly interesting because we only discovered that in 2006. These are called mountain waves.
Mountain waves are caused by a rush of wind hitting a row of mountains where a column of stable air sits on the leading edge. The push of the wind compresses the column upward, forcing the air to condense and create a cloud. When the air descends on the other side of the mountain, it resonates like the bouncing of a spring, forming clouds during each subsequent compression that look like ripples in the atmosphere.
Mountain wave, you've got massive turbulence, you've got extremely strong winds. These occur often enough that if we have a storm coming in, there's an opportunity to look for these kind of mountain waves. And in fact, I saw these clouds this morning in Cook Inlet.
That's significant. Gary's explanation seems to rule out a thunderbird creating these storms. But the bird Marlowe saw was right in front of one. And if there's a similar storm rolling in, that's something we can look for. I think we need to get up on that mountain and see for ourselves.
I
agree.
Well, thanks for your time, Gary.
You bet.
It sounds like we got our hands full tomorrow.
The team surmises that these unique storms might prompt the Thunderbird to make an appearance. Witness Gary Metzberg agrees after an incident he experienced in 1998 near Valdez.
When I was younger, I used to go to my uncle's place to see what wood for him, just to earn some extra cash. One day I'd been working for a few hours, and I sat down on a log to take a breather. And I looked at the house. Flying towards me was this huge bird. And this thing was massive. I'd never seen anything like this. And I stand up, just in awe, looking at this thing. I cannot believe how big it is. Next thing I know, this thing flies over the top of me, and I'm able to see its wingspan. It could be the width of a house. I mean, I felt like a mouse in the woods. It could easily pick me up.
The next day, the team prepares to take advantage of the coming storm. They gear up for a second exploration of Mount Marathon, hoping to experience similar conditions to the day Jenna went missing.
Man, his first got there. My grandpa almost forgot. I'm sure Dr. Snowman's just gonna be hot getting up there with people. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking about that. Let's go down the checklist. Now, Tommy, if Gary's right about the storm, this could actually work to our advantage. Large birds are often known to take advantage of thermal photographs storms. I mean, sometimes it's a playful thing. Sometimes, obviously, bigger, heavier birds, they can really use those updrafts to their advantage because it gives them a surge of air that they can kind of rely on. This can increase our chances of actually seeing some really big birds.
Well, hold that thought, guys. Got ourselves a new toy. On this case, it's very important we have some good long-range vision. So I can find our camera with some binoculars for maximum zoom intensity. Basically, we have our 3 times zoom on our camera. So it's basically a 3500 camera using a 4000 millimeter lens.
Awesome. Well, short of physical evidence, we just want to really hope we find some signs of a weather or droppings. Photographic evidence of a thunderbird would be amazing. Talk about the greatest discoveries in science.
Right, guys.
With their gear in hand, the team heads out to Mount Marathon, hoping to stay ahead of the coming storm.
Mr. Bird, ready? Give me a sec.
See you on the top side.
Cat will once again take to the skies, this time to keep a sharp eye on the weather. Jax and Tommy will hike up the trail once more, seeing if any clues present themselves.
I'm going to ease it into this one. I remember it being a steep. Should be able to get a better bird's eye view when we get past the tree line. Hopefully Ken gets better bird's eye view for us too.
Looks like the forecast is spot on. The horizon displays a huge mass of dark clouds headed our way. It's still sunny here now, but this could get really dangerous really fast if we're not careful.
With a storm incoming, the team surveys Mount Marathon once again for any signs of a large bird.
Hey guys, good visibility right now, but I'm seeing it dark mass.
We're going to make our way to the summit. We'll see you there.
All right, let's go. It just gets steeper. Yeah, just me, Tommy.
Oh, this is pretty steep, man.
Pull over to break.
Yeah. Oh boy.
There's have a look around.
Now, our witness had described a bird that ultimately our expert told us was probably a turkey vulture. That's not indigenous to this area.
Not at all. I've never heard of turkey vulture here in these areas.
Well, we also have a bird that's not indigenous to this area. Maybe that's what's happening.
Entirely possible. 3 years ago, a penguin appeared. We don't have penguins.
That's in Alaska.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one. It's found on the water.
I'm not seeing anything right here.
As chemists chocolate, it's clear by revelation, and early since the storm started in Colorado.
I need to stop. Come on, boss. Let's close. So far, we haven't seen anything. They might be making homes get out this way.
The fact that we don't see birds right in the front of the storm could just mean that we're poorly. Or it could mean that birds in this area don't exhibit that behavior. Maybe they've learned these storms are too violent and they go into hiding.
Again, you have any luck up there?
Guys, from up here, the weather is crazy. It's changing like every 5 minutes.
Well, the weather's nasty. It's socked in here. Well, I don't see anything down here.
The team hurries to rendezvous at the top of the trail. They know they will have little time to scan the surroundings for activity before the storm rolls in. Going to start a thunder and fine weather.
Now, what's with this weather? We're drenched. Now we're dry. Now the wind's picking up.
I just noticed with those clouds back there.
You keep an eye on that. We don't want to get stuck up here.
Yeah.
We're okay. We're dry now, but we're right around. Looks like we might be feeling some wind when the storm comes in. Why don't you land and come help us out? It's okay. Good. Yeah, haven't seen anything all day. Yeah, no sounds. I think while we're up here, let's pull the box out.
That was.
Well, this looks promising over here. Some of these high peaks.
In addition to their binoculars, Ken uses the enhanced magnification unit to watch the horizon. Even not anytime soon, he isn't seeing anything yet.
I was thinking raptors have excellent vision, so they're going to take advantage of that to have a good vantage. To be able to survey this whole surrounding area. There, up there. You guys heard that? What's that? Where did it come from?
Guys, these clouds are moving in. Wind's picking up too. With this storm coming in, we don't have time to see possible thunderbird coming in front of it. If there were a raptor out here, an earlier variation, this is the perfect terrain. Fine.
I agree. The ocean of fish for the taking. Look at these vast expanses of land full of animals that come out.
The location and conditions are almost identical to what Jenna witnessed, but the team hasn't seen anything, and they're out of time in the lakes of the coming storm.
You know, it's getting like you when it's probably getting stuck up there.
Lost in the just falling. Ran above one of these cliffs. It's very valid and everything. That's what happened to him.
Great.
It's disappointing not to have a thunderbird sighting after all this effort. We can't stay up here as the storm moves in, so we have to enter investigation.
As the storm rolls in, the team convenes in the local pub to discuss their findings.
This has been one of the most intense investigations we've done. Really something strange going on here. When it comes to Jenna's disappearance, there's so many factors. There's no places that she could go missing or get on there. And then the search after, intensive search. So I don't think something would be missed. It's not like someone went up there. It's like a very extensive search. Most of the heavily traffic now. They have to keep crazy here every year. Road makes her disappearance. Trees like that. Yeah, exactly.
So many things they're based on reality. Big snow out and other types of rocks out here.
Large, but not large enough, I don't to have evoked these legends of the Thunderbird. Well, guys, for me, it all comes back to eyewitness testimony. I mean, here you have examples of incredible people that giving incredible testimony. Something they saw that is utterly remarkable. You know, the thing about the Thunderbird in relation to other things like people having a fleeting sighting is there are a number of muscle record that include actual physical attacks on humans. That's not a case of misidentification. We're talking about something actually swooping down from the sky and attacking someone. My own personal belief after researching this for 12 years and interviewing dozens of credible eyewitnesses is that some aspect of it is genuine. There's definitely something. Whether or not that's what got to Jenna, but we certainly can't dismiss the possibility that Thunderbird exists and it could be responsible for some of the disappearances in the last week.
For now, the question of what happened to Jenna remains one of the great mysteries of the Alaska Triangle. How does one disappear from on top? It's well known that Alaska is home to many large birds of prey, and some of them show up here unexpectedly.
It appears to be a turkey vulture.
But could there be one big enough to target its alcohol intact. What maritime accident could have separated him from his kayak? And if he reached land, why would he leave his belongings behind? Mysterious circumstances of his disappearance have led many to a local legend about living out on the lake. That an enormous creature haunts its depths and attacks with impunity. Whatever happened has never been seen again. Inside the vast frontier of Alaska is a mysterious triangle, where each year, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing. Investigators look for answers. Jax, a former police officer. Ken, a specialist in strange phenomena. And Tommy, an expert on Alaskan legends. Together, they uncover mysterious sightings and ancient legends, exploring the possibilities of those who go missing in Alaska. The team heads across the Leona Lake at the southwest corner of the triangle toward the elk. Sky is discovered. It's a single spot far away from any towns.
It's been about 45 minutes, guys. Right on. Look how huge this lake is. What are the dimensions here? 77 at the longest, 22 by the widest. How many thousand square miles? I just can't imagine that this guy was actually trying to kayak the whole lake.
That's a long ways.
We've been out here for a long time trying to paddle the circumference of it. So Rick Nelson comes from Missouri. He's been out here for about 3 months exploring Alaska. From what I gathered, he didn't ever seem really prepared with food and gear or any kind of planning. It sounds like maybe that caught up to him. So then what do you think happened? In the normal things, we're in a large body of water. Did he drown?
Even experienced boaters and fishermen go missing and die every year.
So you're talking about an inexperienced guy, got no attitude, not preparing very well for the elements. That's all recipe for disaster.
According to those who encountered Rick, he seemed very cavalier in his adventures. He had simply underestimated this huge challenge.
I think there's one X factor here that we can't rule out. Regularly on the monster
The monster is a creature that has had centuries to evolve. It's said to be a fish-like in its anatomy, but much larger than any local aquatic species. Its descriptions vary. But a composite image suggests a 30-foot-long animal, a blunt and neck, and a row of piercing teeth for tearing prey. Modern sightings of this creature date to the 1940s, with dozens of reports from a wide variety of witnesses.
I mean, I think we have to consider the possibility that may have played a factor in this disappearance. From what I've heard about this lake, it's not really like a lake. It's like a small sea.
This is the largest freshwater lake we have in Alaska.
It's not like a normal lake to go partying on, It's really rough and dangerous to be out here.
Every year, people go missing in the Alaska Triangle, searching for adventure without being prepared. But I've grown up with Healy stories, so I'm curious to find out if there's any truth to it.
Iliana Lake stretches 77 miles long and nearly 22 miles wide, approximately the size of Rhode Island. It also achieves depths of almost 1,000 feet. Its waters drain to the southwest through the Lejack River, which connects the lake to Bristol Bay and the Bering Sea.
I mean, this lake is connected to the ocean.
Right.
So, there is potential for sea marine animals. Holy cow, what is that? Hey, Captain, can you swing around?
Got it. That was huge.
What the hell was that? I don't know.
A large splash has caught the team's attention. It could be just a fish, but in the Alaska Triangle, anything unexpected could be a lead.
Our name is a captain. It's almost 400 feet here.
Gotta get the fish finder.
All right.
Tommy retrieves the team's fish finder, which uses sonar to detect any marine life swimming below.
And gonna monitor and all operate. We got 150 feet here of cable. Ready?
Yeah.
Looks good. Still got pretty decent visibility here.
Maybe people got left of time.
That is it.
That's it.
All real loud.
Alright, well, let's just let it set and see what we get.
Whatever made the splash appears to have fled the area.
Nothing.
I'd like to keep going to the spot where Rick's stuff was found. Keep our eyes peeled for any other marine life.
Captain, can you take us to the Elko, please?
All right, I'll fire it up.
Team docks close to the location where the kayakers' belongings were found. They brought a kayak of their own, which they used to place an underwater camera out in the alcove. It will monitor the water for any sign of large animals swimming nearby.
Stop here, look for a minute.
There's a nice game trail through here. Signs of wildlife out here.
Maybe this guy, maybe he rode ashore, left his kayak on the shore, and the bear got him, and he floated away. What do you think?
Easy explanation. I just gotta ask myself, why was this kayak overturned? I'm kind of lazy to believe this happened on the water. True. Guys ready to keep moving to the alcove?
Yeah.
So guys, I'm pretty sure this is the exact area where they dredged the water from the body. Of course, they didn't find anything at all.
Look at this. The wind's kicking up and the current going right into the alcove here.
Lake Iliamna has a pretty good current to it, right? You got feeder rivers on the north and east end, and then the drainage is on the Weejat River on the bottom. Right. So it's pushing everything in this direction, leaving the possibility that, you know, the refuge, or if there was anything left, push it and deposit it right here where we are. Which makes sense that this is where they found the kayak.
The fact that all of this stuff ended up here, but he didn't, is the heart of the mystery. And one of the prevailing theories is that he was out deeper in the water and, you know, capsized out there, and his stuff got pushed this direction.
Well, would it make sense that he would kayak out towards the deeper water? I mean, his goal was to kayak the circumference of the lake and stay towards the shallows, right?
I agree, it doesn't make any sense, but maybe he just decided, no, I'm going to go right across. Wasn't prepared for it. And a lot of aspects of this mystery just don't add up. If he fell out and drowned near this alcove, his body should have been recovered. If it happened out in deeper water, his gear should have been more dispersed.
Well, could there be any other animal out here that could have pulled his body away?
I guess it's possible. I mean, we're in Alaska. There's all kinds of animals on the coast here, you know, connected to the ocean, and this is a massive lake. Who knows what's out there?
Well, guys, the only way for us to really tell is to get out there and drop this camera.
The team prepares to anchor an underwater camera in the alcove where the missing kayaker's gear was found. The camera is equipped with a battery pack that will give it up to 50 hours of life. The weighted rig will be suspended from the floater, allowing it to scan the waters. It'll send a feed to the team's computer, which will save the footage for examination.
All right, well, now the cameras are all set. Once it gets back, let's get back out the open water.
The team heads out toward the deeper water of the lake, going against the current from the alcove. If the kayaker met his fate on the open water, it would have likely happened along this path. They'll keep an eye on the sonar for any signs of life, especially any predators that might feed on the salmon, trout, or other sport fish known to inhabit the lake.
Yeah, it's smooth as glass. You know, it's worth noting that most of the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, for example, in Scotland, have occurred in conditions just like this. Many people usually say that the water is very flat and calm, very smooth like this. Whatever it is here in Iliamna is different than the global archetype of the traditional lake monster.
Mysterious monsters have been reported in northern lakes around the world. In British Columbia's Okanagan Lake, the Ogo Ogo monster dates back to Indian legends that claim it requires an animal sacrifice to grant safe passage. In Norway's Lake Selshore, is known as a serpentine Goliath that will knock over boats. The most famous is Nessie, the Loch Ness monster of Scotland. Like most of its brethren, it's described as either snake-like or dinosaur-like, a long neck that can rise from the water. Illy, however, seems to defy the mold. Sightings like it are more gigantic fish than its fellow lake monsters. Vacationer Heidi Baker saw a glimpse of this creature back in 1998 while hiking.
I took a vacation to Lake Iliamna. I heard it's a great spot for boating, for really good hiking. And one day I was hiking along a path that overlooked the lake, and I stopped to admire the view. I noticed a V-shaped ripple in the water that was moving against the waves. And it's strange, but I couldn't see what was causing it. So I looked closer and saw sort of a fin-like shape in the water, and it was just a glimpse. It was almost ghost-like in appearance. And as I was watching, it eventually disappeared and didn't come back up. Being an outdoorsy person most of my life, I've seen many different types of fish, but I've never seen anything like that before. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it was the Iliamna monster.
Here in Iliamna, it seems like we're just dealing with a giant, monstrous fish of some kind. Something that's grown to a monstrous size.
You see anything?
No, what about you?
A couple markings on the stone right there.
No one got here fish-wise.
I know there's king salmon, sockeye, and rainbow trouts out here.
At least we're seeing evidence that there's a viable food source here.
There's something big going on in the boat. You should check it out. I just saw the shadow of the boat.
Check it out.
What direction, Tommy? You got a bearing?
Alaska has long been a destination for those who like to live on the edge. The vast acreage of the Alaska Triangle is a place where people can explore the worlds and shadow worlds. But this area also has the highest rate of missing persons in the country. Are people simply unprepared to blaze new trails here? Or are there dangers lurking that even skilled survivalists can't anticipate? An adventurer goes missing on Lake Iliamna, the reputed home of an enormous underwater monster. The team wants to see if there's evidence this creature might be real.
There's something big going under the boat. You should check it out. I just saw the shadow.
It's under the boat.
I'll check it out.
What direction, Tommy? You got a bearing? Tommy, check the sonar. How big was it, Captain?
I guess 10 feet, but I didn't get a good look.
It's gone.
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 You go too deep?
I went to the side, deeper. I still would have seen something.
Well, if this thing was as big as you said, it was probably a very powerful swimmer. So, obviously it could have swum away really fast as it came into view.
I'm not sure that the captain saw anything at all. Maybe the shadow was just a cloud overhead. Either way, trying to find an animal in a lake this size by chance is a classic needle in a haystack scenario. I think we need to go talk to some experts.
Maybe dig up an eyewitness or two.
Yeah, that'll be good. The captain takes back.
Will do. Take back.
All right, thanks.
With their initial outing not providing any leads, Ken and Tommy traveled to Anchorage to meet with marine biologist John Parlier. They hope his expertise on Iliamna life can help direct their search.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Hi, Tommy.
Tommy, nice to meet you.
Hey, John, Ken Gerhardt.
Ken, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We are investigating a case of a missing kayak around Lake Iliamna. Curious as to whether there might be a tie-in to these legends of a mysterious creature up there in the Lake Iliamna monster. What could it be?
Most exciting possibility would be a plesiosaur that is known by the fossil records to have died out about 70 million years ago. They are reptiles, so they're air breathers, so they would need to surface to breathe, and I think a creature of that size having to surface on a regular basis would still be much more visible. Other potential organisms are the beluga whale. The problem with those, they're very surface-oriented. A new theory is this oarfish.
The oarfish is the best known embodiment of a sea serpent ever found. With rare sightings dating to the 1700s, this snake-like creature wasn't observed live until 2001. Oarfish are believed to get over 50 feet long and weigh 600 pounds. They typically reside in deep ocean waters, but when seen at the surface, their undulating swimming style and lack of scales make them
incredible change in their physiology, which they cannot do. They would die in the time it took them to enter the lake.
What about some of the other big fish?
Well, I have pictures of potential big fish. King salmon, very, very popular fish in the area. Some of them can reach 100 pounds. Rainbow trout, much smaller, obviously. The fish that I'm most interested in, this is a white sturgeon. They are native to all of the Pacific coast. These have been known to reach well over 1,000 pounds. These are very migratory fish. They've been known to come up into the Columbia River, leave the Columbia, and migrate up the Fraser River in Canada. They like to investigate new habitat, as it were. And then we have all the seal species that are potentially there. And there have been times when seals will pod up and be on the surface in a large group, and that's been one case where a man thought for sure he saw a sea monster moving away from his boat. The way they're moving made it look like a serpent in the surface.
Iliamna Lake is one of only 5 places in the northern hemisphere with a population of freshwater seals. Little is known about this reclusive group of animals. It's only been confirmed in the last couple of years that they are year-round residents. Could glimpses of these unexpected animals surging through the water be the source of many supposed alien sightings?
So that would be my guess as far as something known.
You know of any eyewitnesses that could possibly help us here?
And I actually do know somebody. His name's John Chamberlain. He appears to be a credible witness.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll get you guys in contact with him.
After making contact with the witness, John Chamberlain, Ken and Jax go to his house to ask him about his experience.
Hello? Hey. Hi. How are you, John? Hi, yes, I'm John. Hi, I'm Ken. Good to meet you. This is my partner, Jax. Hey, how you doing, Jax? So, thanks for agreeing to talk to us about your Iliamna experience. You might have some information that would be useful to us. Sure, yes, I do. One time in the morning, I was on the north end of the lake there. All of a sudden, while I'm kayaking, I see this ripple of water coming towards me on the left side. And I couldn't see anything in the ripple. I don't know what was in there. And all of a sudden, bam, it hit me on the left side. And I went ahead and used my paddle to help keep me steady. And when I did that, I felt a jerk on it. So I lifted it up, and part of it was missing there. What part of Iliamna was this? You said it was the north side? Yeah, the north end. And I do still have that paddle if you wanted to see it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I see that. I'm curious to see what this paddle shows. It's hard evidence trumps a good story every time. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there it is. Wow. Crazy. Look at that. It's serrated, right?
This section. Does it break off like that? Is there not a hole when you're in it?
No. That would be the diameter of the jaw right there. It's part of the range of a salmon or a trout. It's definitely not a sturgeon because they don't have teeth. They suckers in the bottom of their mouth.
The bite mark appears to rule out both sturgeon and seals as culprits. Could the teeth be a creature that's never been identified? Lake Iliamna is the largest lake in Alaska, covering more than 1,000 square miles. This vast habitat is home to enormous numbers of sport fish, like salmon, trout, and grayling. It also hosts a rare population of freshwater seals that thrives on plentiful food. But does it contain something else? A monstrous creature first described centuries ago like an lore. And could it be added to the number of people who go missing in the Alaska Triangle? A witness's encounter indicates a previously unidentified creature. But what kind of creature could it be? The team planted at Mangua in the outlet spot where a missing kayaker's belongings were found. Tommy has been going through the footage and has found something the others should see.
Check this out.
Got something?
What's this?
Cool.
It's just a seal, though.
Yeah, it's a seal which cruising by the wind for it. Check it out.
That's strange.
What is that?
That's what I'm talking about. Check it out. What do you think?
That's a fin right there, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a fin. How huge that is.
It's a
channel.
Tom, do you have that book Tom gave us? Biology.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a comparative analysis here.
Check that out. That's a sturgeon.
Well, this is a lot more round and solid.
Yeah, it's a round, more round. This one looks split. Or maybe it's two fins.
Potentially, it could be a sturgeon fin. I mean, sometimes fins get injured when fish are younger, bitten off.
The largest sturgeons are about 12 feet long. Could the creature captured in this image fit that description? Or is this something much larger?
It's just not a good enough image, but whatever it is, it's big. It doesn't stay shape.
It appeared to be chasing a seal.
Well, guys, clearly there's been a seal population in Illinois for years, and they're rarely seen. We really don't know much about them. So it's also reasonable to assume that there could be something else out there that's also rarely seen. Something very large that's feeding on these seals. And that is a real mystery.
The possibility that something could be feeding on the seals here without decimating the seal population does have biological precedent. The Pacific sleeper shark, a deep-water criminal native to Alaskan ocean waters, is known to feed on seals when it ventures toward the surface. And its preferred depths, prey is scarce. So it adapted the ability to keep food stored in its stomach for a long time, requiring fewer meals. Could an animal be similarly living off the longest cephalopods here? And could its infrequent feedings explain why it's so hard to spot?
You know, I think, honestly, we need to get an expert opinion regarding the seal population in Illinois. Someone who's familiar with the seals and what they look like.
I'll go with it.
Let's do it.
The connection between the seals of Iliana Lake and the monster has been witnessed before. Martin Buck claims to have seen it firsthand in 1997.
So I was up fishing Lake Iliamna, and this was enough for a year to go. And I found this really promising spot. There were all these seals out in the water, and I mean, with the seals there, I assume they've got to be eating and having a big school of fish under there. So I cast out my line, and then I just let it out there waiting for a bite. All of a sudden, I looked up and the seals were gone. They had just taken off. And I started scanning the water for them. And I saw this big shape kind of under the water. It just came out of nowhere. It was huge. And I tracked that for a little while before it kind of disappeared back under. It was just too big to possibly be a seal. I mean, way too big. Everyone up here knows about the Iliamna monster. And no doubt that's what it was.
This is Michael. Hello? Yes, it is. I'm well. How are you? I am. Irvine, but I'm looking for remote only at this time. Excellent. Do you have any remote positions available? Please keep me in mind. Very well. At this time, I'm going to remain with the remote, just then I don't have to go anywhere. But I appreciate it, and if I change my mind, I'll certainly contact you, okay? Have a wonderful day.
site is a monster that didn't float. If you have a bird's eye view of the lake, I think that would help us. Let me know when you'd like to go. Glad to take you out.
Perfect. That sounds great. We'll call our set together once you know as soon as we're ready.
Okay, thank you.
Good to get you.
Steve, thanks.
In 2013, a would-be adventurer disappeared while kayaking on the lake. A legendary monster centuries of here could be bullying. Team has discovered a correlation between sightings of the beast and the seasonal migration of the seal population. Could a predatory animal have mistaken the kayaker for its favorite prey? And could that be part of a recurring pattern of attacking kayaks in search of food? The team wants to test this theory by taking a life-sized lure, a dummy in a kayak, to a wooden boat, which will transport Jackson Tom to the southwest corner of the lake. They'll be joined by a professional diver who will stand ready to enter the water and report footage of anything approaching under the surface.
Hey, Alan. What's up? How you doing? Brett. Hey, guys, this is Alan from Dive. Hey, Alex, I'm Tommy. You ready to jump in for us?
I'm ready. Hey, Steve. Hey, Ken. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Thanks for joining me.
And will join bush pilot Steve in the skies above, scanning the water for any signs of unidentified life. The team heads toward the lower terminus of the lake, where its waters drain into the Queechak River on its way to the Bering Sea. The Indiana seals are reported to be active in that area.
Alright, guys, I'm ready to position. Get onto the boat. Thank you for the setting. I'll be in. Do as much as you can to lure this creature in. But our theory is the animal might go a long time between meals. So if this mannequin is tempting enough, this could all be productive.
That is another possibility that could be interference. It might not be an animal at all. Some have speculated it could be a military submarine undergoing constant refinement and testing in this remote body of water. Alaska is home to 9 military bases, 7 of which were started in the 1940s as a response to World War II, a renewed urgency for military preparedness, small amounts of technology development at these sites. Some have speculated that even the size of the ocean could allow testing of an underwater craft to grow largely unnoticed, and the existence of the monster legend provides the perfect cover. But would a top-secret military submarine explain the damage to John Chamberlain's kayak battle? And what connection would it have, if any, to Rick Nelson's disappearance?
Oh, straight ahead, Tom.
Right there?
That's the mouth of the Queechak right there. Tom, if everything's true, we've been researching. If the seals can be here, it's the right time of year. You think we get up there and turn the boat around?
Boat around, trolling speed.
Go up kayak and mannequin and see what happens?
Yeah. Put the fish finder down too.
I'll tell Alec to be ready to.
Yeah, let's do that.